The origins of the law of attraction, LOA, can be traced back to the New Thought movement in the 19th century, which brought together various philosophical and spiritual ideas into a cohesive system focused on the power of the mind to influence reality. This movement emphasized the idea that thoughts and beliefs shape our experiences, and by changing our mental patterns, we could manifest desired outcomes. One of the key figures in this movement was Phineas Quimby, a mesmerist and healer, who proposed that illness and misfortune stemmed from incorrect thinking, and that mental discipline could lead to healing and success. His work laid the foundation for later thinkers who expanded on these ideas, including people like Charles Fillmore, founder of the Unity Church, and Ernest Holmes, the founder of religious science. Fast forward to the 20th century, and the law of attraction gained mainstream attention through the work of Rhonda Byrne, whose 2006 book The Secret popularized the concept on a global scale. Byrne's interpretation of the law revolved around the idea that like attracts like, and that by focusing on positive thoughts and emotions, individuals could attract wealth, health, and happiness into their lives. Alongside Byrne, Esther and Jerry Hicks, through their channeled teachings from a group of non-physical entities known as Abraham, played a crucial role in bringing the law of attraction into popular consciousness. Abraham-Hicks emphasized the importance of emotional alignment and vibrational frequency in manifesting desires, a concept that would become central to LOA teachings. At its core, the law of attraction suggests that the universe operates on a vibrational frequency, and that by aligning one's thoughts and emotions with the frequency of their desires, they can attract those desires into their lives. This is where the vibrational aspect of LOA comes into play, the idea that everything in existence, including our thoughts, has a frequency, and that like frequencies attract each other. For example, if someone focuses on thoughts of abundance, they will be vibrating at a frequency of abundance, and therefore attract opportunities and experiences that reflect that vibration. On the other side, the law of assumption, closely associated with Neville Goddard, presents a different approach to manifesting reality. The law of assumption revolves around the concept of mental conviction and the power of assuming a desired state as already true. Goddard, a pivotal figure in the development of the law of assumption, taught that reality is shaped by the assumptions we hold about ourselves and the world around us. Unlike the law of attraction, which focuses on attracting things through emotional alignment, the law of assumption is about embodying the belief that what you desire is already yours. In this way, Goddard's approach places the power firmly in the hands of the practitioner, asserting that the imagination is the creator of reality. Goddard's teachings were deeply influenced by metaphysical Christianity, a belief system that blends traditional Christian teachings with the principles of metaphysics. He believed that by assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, imagining that the desired outcome is already a reality, an individual could transform their external circumstances. This inner mental shift would, according to Goddard, lead to a corresponding change in the outer world. It's important to note that both the law of attraction and the law of assumption have roots in ancient spiritual philosophies. The Hermetic teachings, which date back to ancient Egypt and Greece, contain a wealth of wisdom regarding the nature of reality, thought, and manifestation. The Kabbalion, a book that encapsulates the teachings of Hermeticism, introduces the idea that the all is mind, suggesting that the universe itself is a mental construct, and that by understanding and manipulating mental laws one can shape their experiences. This idea is echoed in the law of assumption, which teaches that the mind, particularly the imagination, is the ultimate creative force. Similarly, Hinduism, with its focus on the power of thought and consciousness, also plays a role in the development of these modern laws of manifestation. The concept of Maya, which refers to the illusion of the material world, aligns with the notion that our external reality is a reflection of our inner state. Just as the law of assumption teaches that assuming a desired state brings it into being, Hindu teachings emphasize that what we perceive as reality is a manifestation of the mind, and by transcending the illusion of separateness, we can experience oneness with the universe. Both laws also draw upon the idea that the mind is not separate from the universe but is an integral part of it. In this sense, the law of attraction and the law of assumption share a common philosophical foundation, one that sees consciousness as the driving force behind all that exists. Whether through emotional alignment or mental conviction, both laws encourage individuals to harness the power of the mind to shape their reality, bridging the gap between ancient spiritual teachings and modern metaphysical thought. The similarities between the law of attraction and the law of assumption extend far beyond their shared connection to spiritual teachings. Both concepts emphasize the importance of internal states in shaping our experiences, highlighting the transformative potential of the mind when aligned with higher principles of universal laws. However, while they share a common philosophical basis, the way in which they propose manifesting desires diverges in key aspects. Understanding these subtle differences provides valuable insight into how each law operates within the context of personal development and spiritual growth. The law of attraction, with its focus on vibrational matching, has become synonymous with the idea that like attracts like. This principle suggests that by focusing on positive thoughts, feelings, and intentions, individuals can attract favorable circumstances, opportunities, and experiences. In essence, the law of attraction proposes that we live in a universe that operates on frequency, where everything, including thoughts and emotions, emits a unique vibration. To manifest something into reality, one must adjust their own vibrational frequency to match that of the desired outcome. For instance, if you seek abundance, you must align your thoughts and emotions with abundance, maintaining a mindset that mirrors the energy of wealth and prosperity. This alignment, according to Abraham-Hicks, is further enhanced by understanding the concept of the emotional guidance scale. The scale outlines a spectrum of emotions ranging from despair and fear to joy and love, with the goal of raising one's emotional state to higher, more positive frequencies. Abraham-Hicks teaches that by focusing on the emotions that correspond to what you wish to attract, you gradually shift your vibration to match the reality you want to create. The law of attraction, then, becomes not only about thinking positively, but about cultivating a state of emotional harmony with the universe, where every thought, word, and feeling aligns with the desired outcome. On the other hand, the law of assumption takes a slightly different approach by emphasizing the importance of mental conviction and the assumption of a state as already true. Neville Goddard, one of the foremost teachers of the law of assumption, argued that it is not enough to simply hope for something or wish it into being. Rather, he believed that the key to manifesting desires lies in assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, that is, mentally living in the state of having already achieved what you desire. According to Goddard, by assuming that the desired outcome is already a reality, individuals begin to change their internal state to align with that assumption, and as a result, the external world follows suit. For Goddard, the concept of imagination played a central role in this process. He taught that the imagination is the bridge between the inner world and outer reality, and through vivid mental imagery, individuals could shape their experiences. He often used the phrase "live in the end," which means to mentally and emotionally inhabit the state of having already manifested what is desired. By doing so, you cease to desire something because you have already assumed it to be part of your reality. This is a key distinction from the law of attraction, which often involves focusing on the vibration of desire itself. In the law of assumption, the power lies in the conviction that the desired outcome is already achieved, and this conviction creates the necessary inner shift to bring about the external manifestation. While both the law of attraction and the law of assumption emphasize the power of the mind, the former places greater importance on the external environment as a reflection of internal states, whereas the latter stresses that the internal assumption creates the external reality. In this way, the law of assumption encourages individuals to step into the reality they wish to create and to assume the mental and emotional state of someone who has already achieved their desires. Interestingly, both laws also share a deep connection with the concept of subconscious reprogramming. Both the law of attraction and the law of assumption recognize that the subconscious mind plays a critical role in shaping reality. The subconscious, which operates beneath the level of conscious awareness, is the repository of beliefs, emotions, and habitual thought patterns that ultimately govern our behaviors and perceptions. To manifest desired outcomes, both laws advocate for changing these underlying subconscious patterns to align with the desired state. This is where techniques such as auto-suggestion, repetition, and visualization come into play, tools that help to reprogram the subconscious mind to adopt new empowering beliefs. In the context of the law of attraction, the process of reprogramming the subconscious often involves affirmations, vision boards, and emotional visualization, all of which aim to align the mind with the desired outcome. Similarly, the law of assumption encourages the use of inner conversations and imaginal acts to convince the subconscious of the truth of one's assumptions. Neville Goddard frequently spoke of revision a technique wherein one revisits past events in the imagination and alters them to align with the desired reality. By mentally rewriting the past, individuals can create new subconscious beliefs that support their manifestations. Furthermore, both the law of attraction and the law of assumption draw parallels to the practice of hypnosis and the theta state, which is a deep state of relaxation where the subconscious mind is most receptive to suggestion. In this state, individuals are more open to absorbing new ideas and beliefs, making it an ideal environment for subconscious reprogramming. Goddard and Abraham-Hicks alike encourage practices that induce such a receptive state, including meditation, relaxation techniques, and focused concentration, to facilitate the manifestation process. These concepts align closely with ancient spiritual teachings, such as Hermeticism and Hinduism, which also emphasize the power of the mind to influence reality. The idea that the mind is a powerful tool for creation is central to many mystical traditions, and both the law of attraction and the law of assumption draw heavily from these timeless principles. In Hermeticism, the Kabbalion teaches the principle of mentalism, which asserts that the all is mind, suggesting that the universe itself is a mental construct, and that everything in existence is a manifestation of the mind. Similarly, in Hinduism, the concept of Brahman, the ultimate consciousness, reflects the idea that all of reality is an extension of the divine mind. These teachings underscore the idea that by controlling the mind and assuming the correct mental state, one can shape their experience of reality. Both the law of attraction and the law of assumption represent modern interpretations of these ancient truths, though each applies a unique framework for personal manifestation. The law of attraction encourages individuals to focus on raising their vibration to align with the frequency of their desires, while the law of assumption focuses on embodying the belief that what you desire is already part of your reality. Despite these differences, both laws share the underlying message that we are the creators of our own experiences, and our internal state directly influences the external world we perceive. One of the most profound connections between these two laws and ancient spiritual teachings lies in the notion of oneness with the universe. In Hermeticism, the principle of correspondence teaches that as above, so below, as within, so without, a statement that encapsulates the idea that the macrocosm of the universe mirrors the microcosm of the individual. Similarly, Hinduism's concept of Maya highlights the illusion of separation between the self and the universe, asserting that all things are interconnected and part of a single, unified consciousness. Both laws in their own ways reflect this truth by emphasizing the power of the individual to shape reality, while recognizing that the individual is inherently connected to the larger fabric of the universe. Another critical aspect shared by both the law of attraction and the law of assumption is their emphasis on personal responsibility. They both suggest that we are not passive observers of life but active creators of our experiences. The law of attraction asks us to take responsibility for our vibrational frequency and emotional state, while the law of assumption urges us to take ownership of our thoughts, assumptions, and beliefs. Both laws require us to recognize that our current reality is a reflection of our inner world, and if we wish to change our external circumstances, we must first change our inner state. In practical terms, this means that both laws encourage a shift in consciousness, a shift from seeing ourselves as victims of circumstances to recognizing that we hold the power to shape our lives. Whether through emotional alignment or mental conviction, both laws call for us to take control of our thoughts and feelings, understanding that these internal states are the driving forces behind the reality we experience. This shift in perspective is not always easy, but it is a crucial step on the path of spiritual and personal growth. The history of both the law of attraction and the law of assumption also reveals the deep spiritual wisdom that underlies these modern teachings. The New Thought movement, which birthed the law of attraction, was founded on the idea that our thoughts create our reality, a concept that was revolutionary at the time but can now be seen as a bridge between ancient spiritual teachings and modern self-help philosophies. Likewise, Neville Goddard's teachings on the law of assumption were deeply influenced by metaphysical Christianity, a tradition that blends mystical and Christian principles to unlock the deeper spiritual truths embedded in religious texts. Both philosophies also share a profound connection with the concept of self-realization, which is central to many ancient spiritual teachings. In Hermeticism, the principle of mentalism suggests that understanding the nature of the mind leads to mastery over one's reality. In Hinduism, the path to enlightenment is rooted in the realization that the individual self, Atman, is ultimately one with the universal self, and that by understanding and mastering the mind, one can transcend the illusion of separation and experience true oneness with the universe. Similarly, both the law of attraction and the law of assumption teach that by mastering our thoughts and beliefs, we can transcend the limitations of the material world and manifest our desires. What makes these laws particularly powerful is their universal applicability. No matter where you are in life or what circumstances you face, both the law of attraction and the law of assumption offer tools for transformation. Whether you are seeking wealth, love, health, or spiritual fulfillment, these laws provide a roadmap for accessing the inherent power of the mind to create change. The tools and techniques associated with each law, from visualization and affirmation to assumption and mental revision, can be applied in any area of life, allowing individuals to tap into their innate creative potential. However, this power comes with a caveat: the need for consistency and commitment. Both laws require ongoing effort and dedication to mastering the mind and aligning it with desired outcomes. In this sense, the journey of manifestation is not a one-time event, but a continual process of inner transformation. As with any spiritual or personal growth practice, the more you immerse yourself in these teachings and consistently apply their principles, the more profound and lasting the results will be. It's also worth noting that while the law of attraction and the law of assumption are incredibly empowering, they are not without their challenges. The process of reprogramming the subconscious mind, shifting old beliefs, and adopting new mental patterns requires time, patience, and self-compassion. There will inevitably be moments of doubt, frustration, and resistance. But it is in these moments that the true power of these laws is tested. By continuing to practice these principles even in the face of difficulty, you cultivate the resilience and faith required to manifest your desires and realize your full potential. Ultimately, both the law of attraction and the law of assumption teach us that the key to manifesting our desires lies within ourselves. By understanding and applying the timeless wisdom of these laws, we can create the life we desire and live in alignment with our highest potential. In this sense, both laws offer a path to spiritual awakening and self-mastery, encouraging us to awaken to the infinite possibilities that lie within the power of our minds. The law of attraction, LOA, and the law of assumption, LOA, while rooted in similar metaphysical principles, differ in their approach to how reality is shaped through thought and belief. Understanding these distinctions is key to understanding the nuances of each law and how they can be applied in different aspects of life. While both laws advocate for the power of the mind in shaping reality, they differ in their mechanisms, focus, and the way they view the interaction between the individual and the universe. The law of attraction, as popularized by figures like Rhonda Byrne and the teachings of Abraham-Hicks, is built upon the principle of vibration and frequency. According to this law, everything in the universe, including thoughts and emotions, emits a specific frequency or vibration. The fundamental belief is that like attracts like, that is, the frequency you emit through your thoughts, emotions, and energy will attract experiences and situations that match that frequency. In other words, if you want to attract something specific, such as wealth, love, or success, you must align your own vibration to match the frequency of those things. In practical terms, this means focusing on the emotional and mental alignment necessary to tune in to the frequency of the desired experience. For example, if you want to attract abundance, you must cultivate thoughts and emotions that are aligned with abundance, feelings of gratitude, prosperity, and success. This emotional alignment is considered critical to effectively attracting the desired outcome. Abraham-Hicks refers to this alignment as getting into the vortex, a state in which your thoughts and emotions are fully harmonized with the energy of what you want to attract. The universe in this model is viewed as a vast, vibrational energy field, where your personal frequency dictates what experiences, people, and opportunities you will draw to you. On the other hand, the law of assumption, as taught by Neville Goddard, focuses on a different approach, one that emphasizes mental conviction and the assumption of a state of being. While the law of attraction asks you to focus on vibrational matching, the law of assumption encourages you to focus on the assumption that your desires are already a reality, regardless of what is happening in the external world. According to Goddard, the key to manifestation is not about attracting something to you, but about embodying the feeling of the wish fulfilled. In his teachings, he often stresses the importance of living in the end, which means mentally and emotionally inhabiting the state of having already achieved the desired outcome. This approach is more about assuming the identity of the person you wish to become and adopting the mindset of someone who already has what they desire. For Neville Goddard, the assumption that your desire is already true creates the necessary internal shift to bring about the external manifestation. The law of assumption is in many ways a call to embody the mindset of the end result, rather than focusing on the process of attracting it. For instance, if you desire financial abundance, the law of assumption would not have you focus on aligning your vibration with wealth. Instead, it would have you assume the state of being a wealthy person, thinking, feeling, and acting as if you are already wealthy. By doing so, you effectively change your state of consciousness, which in turn influences the reality around you. This assumption creates the conditions for the manifestation to occur because, according to Goddard, consciousness is the only reality. One of the most significant differences between the law of attraction and the law of assumption lies in their view of the relationship between the individual and the universe. The law of attraction suggests that the universe is a vast, vibrational energy field that reacts to your frequency and aligns with your emotional state to bring you what you desire. In this view, the individual is seen as a magnetic force, attracting experiences based on their emotional and mental frequency. The universe is seen as a reflection of your inner world, but it is a reactive force that responds to your vibrational state. In contrast, the law of assumption sees the universe not as a reactive force, but as a mirror of your assumptions and beliefs. The universe, in this model, does not react to your vibration, but instead mirrors your inner convictions and assumptions about reality. Neville Goddard believed that by assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you effectively override the external world, creating the reality you desire from within. The assumption itself is the catalyst for manifestation, as it shifts your internal state to such an extent that the external world must eventually reflect this change. This difference in approach is a crucial distinction between the two laws. The law of attraction places the emphasis on aligning with the external frequency of your desire, whereas the law of assumption places the emphasis on changing your internal state and embodying the reality you want to create. This shift in focus from attracting to assuming allows individuals to approach manifestation in a different way, with a greater emphasis on internal conviction rather than external alignment. Moreover, the law of assumption operates under the belief that the subconscious mind is the key to creating lasting change. In this view, your subconscious beliefs, assumptions, and mental images shape your reality, and by changing these subconscious patterns, you can effectively change your external circumstances. The law of attraction, while also recognizing the importance of subconscious influence, places more emphasis on the conscious process of aligning your emotions and thoughts with your desired outcome. In contrast, the law of assumption focuses on the deeper mental and emotional assumptions that influence both your conscious and subconscious mind. The concept of feeling also plays a different role in each law. In the law of attraction, emotions are used as a tool for aligning with the desired outcome, guiding you to maintain a positive emotional state that matches the frequency of what you want to manifest. The more positive and aligned your emotions, the greater your ability to attract what you desire. In contrast, the law of assumption emphasizes that feeling is the secret. That is, the key to manifestation lies in assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled and feeling it as though it is already real. For Goddard, feeling the reality of your desire is what creates the internal shift needed to manifest it, and this feeling must be maintained in both your conscious and subconscious mind. The emphasis on feeling within the law of assumption is deeply rooted in Neville Goddard's teachings, which stress that our feelings create the blueprint for our reality. Goddard teaches that to manifest effectively, we must not only assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, but also maintain that feeling consistently until it becomes the dominant reality in our consciousness. This is a nuanced approach, requiring a deep emotional commitment to the state of being that we wish to assume. Unlike the law of attraction, which might suggest that occasional emotional alignment with a desire is enough, the law of assumption demands sustained emotional immersion in the experience of having already manifested the desired outcome. In practical terms, this means that while the law of attraction encourages you to feel good and stay in an emotional state that aligns with your desires, the law of assumption asks you to fully be in the experience, to live as though the desire is already yours, and to act, think, and feel from that place of assumed fulfillment. For example, if you want to manifest a loving relationship, the law of attraction would encourage you to focus on thoughts and feelings that align with love and positive relationships. In contrast, the law of assumption would encourage you to assume the feeling of being in a loving relationship, acting as if that relationship already exists, thinking and feeling as someone who is already loved. This approach demands a more profound and transformative shift in consciousness, one that encompasses your entire being, rather than merely aligning your thoughts or emotions on a surface level. Another key difference between the two laws lies in their approach to time and manifestation. The law of attraction often operates within the framework of waiting for the universe to deliver the desired outcome once the proper alignment has been achieved. This concept suggests that once you align your vibration with your desire, you simply need to trust that the universe will bring it to you in due time. In this model, there is often an inherent sense of waiting and surrendering control to the universe, which can be challenging for those who desire quicker results or more tangible action steps. The law of assumption, however, takes a different approach by removing the notion of waiting altogether. Neville Goddard teaches that there is no need to wait for the manifestation to come into being because in the world of assumptions, it already exists in the present moment. By assuming the reality of your desire, you bypass the need for time and create the manifestation instantly, in your own perception. The reality of the desire is not something you must wait for, it is something you must acknowledge and embody as your present experience. This shift in perspective removes the anxiety and impatience often associated with manifestation, replacing it with a deep sense of knowing that your desires are already fulfilled. The relationship with time in the law of assumption also shifts the focus from external circumstances to internal conviction. Since the assumption is that the desire already exists, you are no longer concerned with how or when it will manifest in the external world. Instead, the primary focus is on maintaining the assumption that your desire is already part of your reality, which creates an internal state of fulfillment and satisfaction. The concept of living in the end, imagining and feeling as if your desire has already come true, allows you to transcend the limitations of linear time and live in the state of fulfilled desire now. This brings us to the concept of inner versus outer focus, a fundamental distinction between the law of attraction and the law of assumption. The law of attraction places the emphasis on how external circumstances can be changed by aligning your internal energy with the frequency of your desires. In this model, the individual reacts to the external world and strives to match their vibration to attract their desires. There is a strong focus on the law of cause and effect, where your inner state causes corresponding changes in the outer world. In contrast, the law of assumption shifts the focus from reacting to the external world to creating from within. The assumption is that the external world is a reflection of your inner assumptions and beliefs, and by changing your internal state, you can directly create your desired outcomes. This law asks you to create your reality through your assumptions rather than waiting for external circumstances to dictate your emotional state. Rather than trying to match the vibration of your desires to attract them, the law of assumption asks you to claim them as your present reality, regardless of external evidence. This shift in focus from reaction to creation also influences how the individual interacts with challenges and obstacles. In the law of attraction, difficulties are often seen as contrasts or tests that can help refine your alignment and attract your desires more effectively. These challenges are seen as opportunities to realign your energy and get back into the vortex. However, in the law of assumption, challenges are viewed as mere reflections of old assumptions and beliefs that no longer serve you. The key is not to react to these challenges, but to change your internal assumptions to reflect your desired outcome, thus making the challenges fade away. The power lies not in aligning with external circumstances, but in changing your internal assumptions about reality to shape your experience. This approach suggests that when you embrace the law of assumption, you no longer need to react to life's challenges in the same way. Instead, you adopt the mindset that everything you experience is a reflection of what you assume to be true about yourself and the world. By changing those assumptions, you transform your experience, which in turn changes your external reality. The influence of the subconscious mind is another area where the law of attraction and the law of assumption differ in their approach. Both laws acknowledge that the subconscious mind plays a crucial role in shaping our reality, but they emphasize different mechanisms for accessing and reprogramming it. In the law of attraction, subconscious programming is often achieved through emotional alignment and focused visualization. It is believed that when you feel the emotions of your desires, happiness, gratitude, excitement, etc., you are tapping into the subconscious mind's ability to align with the external world. The vibration of positive emotions is thought to signal the subconscious to manifest the desired experience. Abraham-Hicks emphasizes the power of positive thinking and emotional alignment as a means of shifting your vibrational state and reprogramming the subconscious to attract what you desire. On the other hand, the law of assumption places a more direct emphasis on the power of the assumption itself to reprogram the subconscious mind. Neville Goddard teaches that the subconscious is a powerful creative force, and by assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you directly influence it. The assumption is not just a mental exercise, but an emotional and psychological shift that overrides the conscious mind and impresses the subconscious with the feeling of the desired reality. In Goddard's model, the subconscious mind is seen as a servant to the conscious mind. When the conscious mind assumes a new belief or state of being, the subconscious must follow suit, thereby manifesting the external reality. The key here is the assumption itself. By assuming the state of being you wish to manifest, you bypass the need for external evidence and allow the subconscious to create the corresponding reality. This difference in approach leads to differing techniques for subconscious reprogramming. In the law of attraction, practices like visualization, affirmations, and meditation are often used to cultivate the positive emotions that align with the desired outcome. The emotional state of the individual is believed to be the key to attracting the desired outcome, and the subconscious mind responds to this emotional frequency. In contrast, the law of assumption employs techniques like visualization, inner conversations, and revision, with a strong emphasis on assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Visualization, in the law of assumption, is not simply about imagining the desired outcome, but about mentally inhabiting the state of already having what you desire. Inner conversations involve consciously speaking to yourself as if your desire has already manifested, reinforcing the assumption that it is true. Revision, a technique unique to Neville Goddard's teachings, involves mentally rewriting past events or situations to reflect the desired outcome, thus changing your subconscious beliefs and assumptions about reality. Both laws acknowledge the importance of repetition in reprogramming the subconscious, but the law of assumption places greater emphasis on the continuous and persistent assumption of the desired state. According to Goddard, repeating the assumption and feeling of the wish fulfilled, day after day, is what impresses the subconscious mind and creates lasting change in external circumstances. The law of attraction also emphasizes repetition, particularly through affirmations and visualization, but it is often more focused on aligning your emotional energy and keeping your vibration high, rather than consistently embodying the assumed state of being. The distinction between the two laws also extends to their interpretation of manifestation timing. In the law of attraction, manifestation often occurs in response to your emotional alignment with your desires, but there is typically an acknowledgement of the time it takes for the universe to deliver the desired outcome. The universe, in this view, is seen as responding to your frequency over time, and there may be a delay between your emotional alignment and the manifestation of your desires. This delay can sometimes lead to frustration or impatience, particularly for those who feel they are doing everything right but have not yet seen the desired results. The law of assumption, however, operates under the belief that time is an illusion and that your assumption creates the manifestation instantly, even if it is not yet visible in the physical world. The key is to assume the end result, and by doing so you bring it into existence in the mental realm, and eventually it will materialize in the physical world. In this view, there is no need to wait for the manifestation to happen, as it is already a reality in your consciousness. This different view of timing and manifestation leads to varying attitudes toward external circumstances. The law of attraction encourages individuals to focus on the emotional alignment and trust that the universe will bring the desired outcome in its own time. However, the law of assumption encourages a more immediate shift. The assumption of the desired reality creates an internal alignment that automatically shifts external circumstances to match it. In this model, external circumstances are no longer seen as indicators of the manifestation's arrival, but rather as reflections of your internal assumptions. The assumption itself is the key to creating the desired reality, and once that assumption is firmly established in the subconscious, the external world must reflect it. Both laws also share the belief in the power of thought, but their emphasis differs in terms of how thought is used to create reality. The law of attraction emphasizes the power of positive thinking and emotional alignment with the desired outcome. Thoughts are considered powerful tools for shifting your vibration, and it is believed that when you focus on positive thoughts and emotions, you attract positive experiences. The law of assumption, however, focuses more on the power of assumption and belief, suggesting that by mentally assuming the desired reality, you create it. In this model, the key to manifestation is not just thinking positively, but firmly assuming that your desire is already true, and acting, thinking, and feeling accordingly. One of the most profound differences between the law of attraction and the law of assumption is how they address the role of external circumstances. In the law of attraction, external circumstances are often viewed as the reflective surface of your inner state. In other words, the universe reflects your vibrations and feelings back to you, which is why it is so important to focus on maintaining a positive emotional state. The external world in this framework serves as a mirror that reflects the energy you are putting out. Thus, when things aren't going well externally, it is seen as an indication that your emotional state or vibrational frequency is out of alignment with your desires. This understanding encourages individuals to examine their feelings, thoughts, and beliefs, to identify areas where they may not be in alignment with their desires. It also suggests that changing your emotional state will eventually lead to a shift in external circumstances. However, the law of assumption places much less emphasis on the external world and focuses instead on the internal state of being. Neville Goddard teaches that external circumstances are simply a reflection of your inner assumptions, beliefs. This means that when you change your internal assumptions, when you firmly assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, the external world must reflect this change, regardless of what it looks like right now. In this view, you do not need to focus on fixing the external circumstances or worrying about whether they align with your desires. Instead, you focus entirely on assuming the end result and living from the state of fulfillment. As a result, the law of assumption offers a much more direct and inward-focused approach to manifestation, where the key is not to wait for the external world to change, but to live as though it already has. This difference in emphasis also influences the way individuals handle setbacks or challenges while manifesting. The law of attraction tends to encourage individuals to view obstacles or negative experiences as opportunities for growth and alignment. When something goes wrong, it is often seen as a sign that you need to realign with your desires and adjust your thoughts and emotions to be in harmony with what you want to attract. Challenges are viewed as part of the process, and overcoming them through emotional and mental alignment will ultimately lead to manifestation. The law of assumption, however, teaches that challenges are simply reflections of old assumptions that no longer serve you. Neville Goddard suggests that when you encounter a setback or a challenge, it is not something to be overcome but rather an indication that you need to shift your assumptions. The external world in this framework is always in perfect alignment with your inner state, so when things are not going as desired, it is a sign that your assumptions about reality need to be changed. The key is not to focus on the challenges but to assume the end result you want to experience, and from that place the challenges will fade. This is why Neville Goddard often emphasizes the power of revision. By revising your assumptions about past events, you can change how you experience them in the present and future. The concept of living in the end is another distinguishing feature of the law of assumption. Neville Goddard emphasizes that the key to manifestation is to live in the end result of your desires as if they are already fulfilled. This means that you must mentally and emotionally inhabit the state of being that you wish to manifest, acting, thinking, and feeling as though it is already your reality. The law of attraction, while also encouraging positive feelings and emotional alignment, does not always go as far as teaching people to live in the end result of their desires. It focuses more on the process of aligning your energy and trusting that the universe will bring your desires to fruition. The law of assumption, however, demands a deeper level of embodiment and conviction. You are not just aligning your emotions with your desires, you are becoming the person who already has what you want. This level of embodiment is what makes the law of assumption more powerful and immediate in its results. The idea of feeling is the secret is another concept that distinguishes the law of assumption from the law of attraction. While both laws acknowledge the importance of feeling, the law of assumption places even greater emphasis on the feeling of the wish fulfilled as the key to manifestation. Neville Goddard teaches that the feeling of the wish fulfilled is not just an emotion but a state of being that must be assumed and sustained until it becomes your dominant reality. The law of attraction encourages emotional alignment with your desires, but does not always stress the depth of emotional and mental transformation required to manifest with the law of assumption. In the law of assumption, feeling is the gateway to creating your desired reality, and the assumption of that feeling creates the manifestation. Another interesting difference between the two laws is how they approach self-concept and identity. In the law of attraction, your self-concept may be indirectly influenced by your emotional alignment with your desires, but the focus is more on matching your vibration to attract what you want. The law of assumption, however, places a strong emphasis on the self-concept and how your identity must align with your desired reality. Neville Goddard teaches that you must assume the identity of the person who already has what you want, and in doing so you begin to act, think, and feel in alignment with that identity. The law of assumption therefore requires a more profound transformation of self-concept and belief than the law of attraction, which is often more focused on emotional and vibrational alignment. Ultimately, both the law of attraction and the law of assumption offer powerful tools for creating the life you desire, but they differ in their approaches, techniques, and emphasis. The law of attraction focuses on emotional alignment, vibration, and the idea that external circumstances reflect your internal state. The law of assumption, on the other hand, emphasizes the power of assumption, the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and the transformation of your self-concept to manifest your desires instantly. While the law of attraction offers a more external and vibrational approach, the law of assumption offers a more internal and direct approach, requiring you to become the person who already has what you desire. By understanding these core differences, you can choose which law best resonates with your personal approach to manifestation and begin to harness its power in your life. How this relates to the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is one of the most powerful forces in shaping our reality, and both the law of attraction and the law of assumption recognize its profound influence on manifestation. However, each law has a slightly different understanding of how the subconscious works and how it can be accessed to bring about desired change in our lives. In this section, we will explore the role of the subconscious mind in both laws, the techniques used to reprogram it, and the ways it shapes our reality. The subconscious mind, as understood in both the law of attraction and the law of assumption, is the part of the mind responsible for controlling habits, beliefs, emotions, and all the automatic processes in our bodies. It operates beneath the level of conscious awareness and processes information without us having to consciously think about it. According to both laws, the subconscious mind plays a significant role in determining the reality we experience, as it holds the beliefs and assumptions that influence our thoughts, feelings, and actions. If our subconscious beliefs are in alignment with our desires, we are more likely to manifest the experiences we want. On the other hand, if our subconscious beliefs are in conflict with our desires, they can block manifestation, creating resistance and preventing us from achieving our goals. In the law of attraction, the subconscious mind is believed to respond to the vibrational frequency we emit. The idea is that when we focus on positive thoughts, emotions, and experiences, we align our vibration with the frequency of our desires. This alignment signals to the subconscious that we are ready to receive the manifestations we want, and it begins to attract those experiences into our lives. For example, if you focus on feelings of abundance, love, or success, the law of attraction teaches that your subconscious mind will recognize these emotions and begin to draw experiences that reflect those feelings into your life. The process of emotional alignment and vibration adjustment is seen as the key to influencing the subconscious mind and, by extension, the reality you experience. The law of assumption, however, presents a more direct approach to working with the subconscious mind. According to Neville Goddard, the subconscious mind is a powerful tool for manifestation, but it responds to the assumptions we hold about ourselves and our reality. The law of assumption teaches that when we consciously assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, as though our desires have already come true, we impress the subconscious mind with this new belief. By assuming the state of being that corresponds with our desires, we directly program the subconscious to accept this as reality, and it begins to shape our external sternance to match this internal state. This assumption becomes a dominant thought or belief that the subconscious mind cannot ignore, and it ultimately leads to the manifestation of the desired outcome. The difference between the two laws lies in the way they approach the reprogramming of the subconscious mind. In the law of attraction, the subconscious mind is primarily influenced by the emotional frequency we emit, which is then reflected in our reality. This emotional alignment is achieved through techniques like visualization, gratitude, and positive affirmations. The key here is to align the subconscious with the vibrational frequency of what you want to attract, creating a sense of harmony between your inner and outer worlds. In this way, the subconscious becomes the vessel through which the universe responds to our emotional state. The law of attraction focuses on emotional consistency and the idea that like attracts like, emphasizing that by maintaining a positive emotional state, you are sending out signals that the subconscious picks up on and responds to. In contrast, the law of assumption places much greater emphasis on the power of mental conviction and the assumption of the desired state as a means of directly influencing the subconscious. Neville Goddard teaches that the subconscious mind does not distinguish between what is imagined and what is real. So by mentally inhabiting the state of already having what you desire, you bypass the need for external evidence and allow the subconscious to create the corresponding reality. The assumption of the desired outcome is the key to impressing the subconscious mind, and it requires a deeper level of commitment and emotional embodiment than what is typically emphasized in the law of attraction. When you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled and persist in that assumption, you reprogram the subconscious mind to believe that your desire is already a fact, and the external world must conform to this belief. To understand the process of reprogramming the subconscious mind in more detail, it is important to look at the role of repetition and autosuggestion. In both the law of attraction and the law of assumption, repetition plays a key role in influencing the subconscious. Repetition is the process by which we repeatedly expose the subconscious mind to a new thought, belief, or emotional state, allowing it to become ingrained over time. In the law of attraction, this might involve daily affirmations or visualization exercises to align with the vibration of what you want to attract. In the law of assumption, repetition is used to continually assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, reinforcing the new belief and imprinting it on the subconscious. Neville Goddard often spoke about the power of autosuggestion, which involves repeating affirmations or inner conversations that support the assumption of your desired state. Both laws also recognize the importance of the theta state, a brainwave frequency that is associated with deep relaxation, meditation, and hypnosis. In this state, the conscious mind is less active, and the subconscious is more receptive to suggestions and new beliefs. The law of attraction encourages individuals to enter this state through meditation, deep breathing, or visualization, allowing the subconscious to absorb the desired emotional frequency and align with it. The law of assumption also encourages entering a relaxed state where the subconscious mind is more open to receiving the assumption of the desired outcome. Neville Goddard emphasized the importance of entering this state before bedtime or just after waking up, as the mind is more impressionable during these moments. One of the most powerful ways to access and reprogram the subconscious mind is through the use of visualization. Visualization is a technique that involves mentally imagining the desired outcome as if it has already occurred, allowing the subconscious to absorb the experience as a reality. In the law of attraction, visualization is used to align with the vibrational frequency of what you wish to attract. By vividly imagining the desired outcome and feeling the emotions associated with it, you send a powerful signal to your subconscious, encouraging it to manifest that reality. The more vivid and emotionally charged the visualization, the more effective it is in influencing the subconscious mind. In the law of assumption, visualization plays a slightly different role. Neville Goddard teaches that visualization is not just about creating an image of the desired outcome, but about fully immersing yourself in the state of the wish fulfilled. This means not only imagining what you want, but also assuming the feeling of having already achieved it. The key here is to live in the visualization as though it is your current reality. In doing so, you impress the subconscious mind with the assumption that your desire is already a fact, and this assumption must eventually manifest in your physical reality. Visualization in the law of assumption is a deeply embodied practice, where you do not merely picture the desired outcome, but feel the emotions, thoughts, and sensations as though they are happening right now. Another technique used to influence the subconscious mind is through inner conversations, the thoughts and self-talk we engage in throughout the day. Inner conversations, according to both the law of attraction and the law of assumption, are a powerful way to shape the beliefs and assumptions we hold about ourselves and our desires. In the law of attraction, the focus is on having positive, high-vibrational conversations with oneself that reinforce the emotional alignment with desired outcomes. For example, affirmations like "I am attracting abundance into my life," or "I am worthy of love and success," are commonly used to shift the internal dialogue and align with the frequency of what is desired. By repeating these affirmations or holding positive thoughts throughout the day, individuals can gradually shift their subconscious beliefs and bring their desires into manifestation. In the law of assumption, inner conversations take on an even more central role. Neville Goddard teaches that the words and thoughts we speak to ourselves are the primary means of impressing the subconscious with our assumptions. The inner conversation, in this context, is not simply positive thinking or affirmations, but a direct assumption of the desired state. For example, rather than affirming "I am attracting wealth," a person practicing the law of assumption might engage in an inner conversation that goes something like, "I am wealthy, and I always have more than enough money." The key here is to mentally and emotionally inhabit the state of the wish fulfilled, speaking and thinking as though it is already a fact. This inner conversation reinforces the assumption that the desire is already realized, which directly influences the subconscious mind to accept this assumption as truth. The power of the subconscious mind also extends to the realm of dreams. Both the law of attraction and the law of assumption recognize that dreams can serve as a gateway to accessing the subconscious and reprogramming limiting beliefs or assumptions. In the law of attraction, dreams are often seen as reflections of the emotional state or vibrational frequency we are holding. If we dream about abundance, love, or success, it may be a sign that we are aligned with those frequencies in our waking life. Conversely, if we dream about fear, lack, or failure, it could indicate that there are unresolved beliefs or emotions that need to be addressed to shift our vibrational alignment. In the law of assumption, dreams take on an even more significant role as a reflection of the subconscious mind's assumptions. Neville Goddard believed that our dreams are a direct reflection of our assumptions and beliefs about ourselves and the world. He often spoke about the importance of living in the end and using dreams as a tool to impress the subconscious mind with the desired state. For example, if someone is manifesting a specific outcome, such as a new job, Neville would suggest mentally assuming that they already have the job, and even practicing this assumption during dreams. In doing so, they would align the subconscious mind with the belief that the job is already theirs, which would ultimately result in the manifestation of that reality. This approach demonstrates how the subconscious mind continues to work even while we are asleep, processing and integrating the assumptions we hold. Another important aspect of working with the subconscious mind is the use of repetition through affirmations. Affirmations are positive statements that are repeated daily to reprogram the subconscious mind with new empowering beliefs. In the law of attraction, affirmations are used to affirm the desired outcome and reinforce the emotional vibration of that outcome. For example, repeating "I am attracting love into my life" or "I am financially abundant" can help to align the subconscious mind with the frequency of love or abundance. The repetition of these affirmations gradually shifts the subconscious beliefs and aligns them with the desired reality. In the law of assumption, affirmations are used in a more direct and assertive manner. Neville Goddard teaches that affirmations should not be passive or vague, but should embody the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Instead of affirming "I am attracting wealth," a person practicing the law of assumption would affirm "I am wealthy and I have everything I need." This affirmation is an assumption of the desired state and is intended to impress the subconscious mind with the belief that the desired outcome is already a fact. The more frequently these affirmations are repeated, the more deeply they are impressed upon the subconscious, ultimately leading to the manifestation of the desired reality. In both the law of attraction and the law of assumption, there is a deep recognition that the subconscious mind is a powerful force that shapes our reality, often without us realizing it. It is not only a repository for our past experiences and beliefs, but also a creative center that brings into being the experiences we continually focus on and assume. Whether we are consciously aware of it or not, the subconscious mind is always at work, influencing our actions, decisions, and the reality we encounter. Understanding how to work with the subconscious is therefore key to harnessing the power of both laws and aligning ourselves with the life we desire. A crucial point to understand in both the law of attraction and the law of assumption is that the subconscious mind does not distinguish between positive and negative thoughts. It simply accepts whatever is impressed upon it as truth. This is why it is so important to guard our thoughts and beliefs, as the subconscious mind will work tirelessly to manifest whatever we give it to work with. If we continuously dwell on thoughts of lack, fear, or limitation, the subconscious mind will align with these beliefs and bring experiences that reflect those emotions. Conversely, if we focus on thoughts of abundance, love, and success, the subconscious will work to bring those experiences into our lives. This is why both laws emphasize the importance of maintaining a positive mindset, as it influences what the subconscious mind accepts and in turn creates. The concept of self-concept is another essential component in the reprogramming of the subconscious mind. Both the law of attraction and the law of assumption acknowledge that how we see ourselves, our self-image and self-worth, plays a fundamental role in the manifestation process. If we see ourselves as unworthy of success, love, or abundance, the subconscious mind will hold on to that belief and manifest experiences that reflect this self-concept. This is why both laws emphasize the need to change our self-concept in order to manifest the desires we want. In the law of assumption, Neville Goddard speaks about the importance of assuming the self-concept that aligns with our desired reality, rather than waiting for external circumstances to change first. By assuming the feeling of already being the person we want to become, we impress the subconscious with this new self-image, which will then shape our external circumstances to match it. In the law of attraction, a similar process occurs, but the focus is more on emotional alignment and the vibration we emit, which influences the subconscious mind to align with our desires. When we embody the emotions of already having what we want, whether it's love, abundance, or success, we align our vibration with that state, and the subconscious picks up on this frequency, drawing those experiences into our reality. The key difference lies in the method. The law of assumption encourages a more direct approach to shifting self-concept and beliefs through assumption, while the law of attraction emphasizes emotional alignment and vibrational frequency, as the primary means of influencing the subconscious. One fascinating aspect of the subconscious mind as it relates to both laws is its connection to the body and its automatic responses. The subconscious mind is not limited to just thoughts and emotions. It also influences our physical body, creating automatic reactions and behaviors based on our beliefs and assumptions. For instance, if we hold deep-seated beliefs about our health, whether positive or negative, the subconscious will influence the body's responses accordingly. In the same way, if we assume a state of well-being, abundance, or success, our physical body will begin to reflect those assumptions, reinforcing the desired outcome. This mind-body connection is particularly relevant in the law of assumption. Neville Goddard often emphasized the importance of feeling the desired state in the body, as this deep emotional embodiment strengthens the impression on the subconscious mind. By engaging all the senses, feeling, seeing, hearing, in the assumption of the desired state, we create a powerful and undeniable impression on the subconscious, which then aligns our physical body with the assumption. This technique is not just mental but involves the full experience of embodying the state of the wish fulfilled, reinforcing the belief that the desired outcome is already a reality. The law of attraction also acknowledges this mind-body connection, though the focus is more on aligning with the emotional state of the desired outcome. When we align emotionally with the vibration of what we want to attract, we signal to the subconscious mind that we are already experiencing that state internally. This emotional alignment is reflected in our energy field, which then interacts with the external world, attracting experiences that match that energy. While the law of assumption emphasizes a deeper internal state of being, the law of attraction focuses on the vibrational energy that emanates from our emotional state. In both laws, the subconscious mind is seen as the key to unlocking our desires. However, the paths to accessing and reprogramming the subconscious differ, one through emotional alignment and vibration, the other through assumption and conviction. By understanding the role of the subconscious mind and the methods each law uses to influence it, we can begin to harness its power to create the life we desire. Both the law of attraction and the law of assumption remind us that our reality is shaped by our inner world, and by changing our beliefs, thoughts, and assumptions, we can transform the world around us. Common misunderstandings and pitfalls. One of the most common misunderstandings about the law of attraction and the law of assumption is the belief that simply thinking about what you want will cause it to manifest effortlessly. While it is true that thoughts play a key role in shaping our reality, many people overlook the deeper aspects of these laws that require consistent effort, emotional alignment, and a shift in self-concept. This misconception can lead to frustration and disappointment when desired outcomes do not materialize, causing people to question the validity of the laws themselves. A key pitfall in both laws is the tendency to misunderstand the importance of emotional alignment. In the law of attraction, it is not enough to merely think about what you want. You must also feel the emotions associated with it, aligning your energy and vibration with the frequency of the desired outcome. Similarly, in the law of assumption, it is not enough to merely assume the desired outcome intellectually. You must embody it emotionally and mentally, fully convincing yourself that it has already come to pass. The emotional aspect of these practices is essential for manifesting your desires, and without it, the process may feel incomplete or ineffective. Another pitfall that people often fall into is the misconception that the law of attraction and the law of assumption are about wishing or hoping for something to happen. The idea of wishful thinking can be misleading, as it suggests a passive attitude of waiting for something to materialize. In reality, both laws require active participation and engagement with your own consciousness, emotions, and actions. It is not simply about hoping something will happen, but about aligning yourself fully with the desired outcome and embodying that state of being. Additionally, many people fall into the trap of thinking that the law of attraction is only about attracting material things, such as money or possessions. While it is true that the law of attraction can be used to attract material wealth, its true power lies in attracting experiences, relationships, and opportunities that align with your highest values and desires. The same is true for the law of assumption, which can be applied to any area of life, from health and well-being to personal growth and spiritual development. Reducing the scope of these laws to just material manifestations limits their true potential and understanding. On the flip side, some people misunderstand the law of assumption by thinking it is about blindly ignoring reality or pretending things are different than they actually are. While Neville Goddard teaches that we must assume the desired outcome, it is not about denying or suppressing current circumstances. Instead, it is about shifting your perception and assuming the reality you desire, even in the face of current challenges or obstacles. The law of assumption encourages us to focus on the state of the wish fulfilled, rather than waiting for external conditions to change first. It is a mental and emotional shift that requires a deep belief in the power of the mind to create reality, regardless of current appearances. Another common pitfall is the idea that the law of attraction or the law of assumption should provide instant results. Many people expect immediate manifestations, but both laws operate on a deeper level of consciousness that requires time and consistency to fully take effect. The process of aligning your thoughts, emotions, and assumptions with your desires takes time, and the manifestation process is often gradual, unfolding in ways that might not always be immediately visible. It is important to practice patience and trust in the process, knowing that your desires are being drawn to you even when you cannot see the results right away. Misusing emotion is another misunderstanding that often occurs, particularly in the law of attraction. Some people mistakenly believe that the more intense the emotion, the faster the manifestation will occur. While strong emotions can certainly amplify the process, it is important to focus on emotions that are aligned with the desired outcome, rather than emotional states that are rooted in desperation, fear, or lack. Negative emotions such as anxiety or frustration can inadvertently send signals to the subconscious that reinforce scarcity or unworthiness, which can hinder the manifestation process. It is essential to cultivate a positive, aligned emotional state and trust that the universe is working with you to bring your desires into fruition. Similarly, in the law of assumption, a common pitfall is assuming that positive thinking alone will lead to results. While positive thinking is important, the real power lies in the conviction and belief that the desired outcome is already yours. It is not about merely thinking positive thoughts, but about embodying the assumption that your desire is already a fact. This requires deep mental and emotional alignment, as well as the willingness to let go of doubt and fear. The stronger your conviction and assumption, the more easily the subconscious mind will accept and manifest your desires. One of the biggest obstacles people face in applying the law of attraction or the law of assumption is the challenge of misaligning self-concept. Often, individuals may set a desire to manifest something, such as financial abundance, a loving relationship, or improved health. But their underlying self-concept remains rooted in thoughts and beliefs of unworthiness or limitation. This mismatch between what one desires and how they perceive themselves can create an internal conflict, making it difficult to manifest anything lasting or substantial. In both laws, it is critical to examine and transform your self-concept in order to align with the reality you wish to create. For example, if a person desires to manifest wealth but subconsciously believes they are not worthy of prosperity, the subconscious mind will continuously affirm the belief of scarcity, even if they consciously focus on thoughts of abundance. This inner conflict can result in feelings of frustration or confusion as to why the desired outcome is not appearing. Both laws encourage a deep reprogramming of the self-concept through consistent practice, whether that is through affirmation, assumption, or emotional alignment. It is only when the self-concept is aligned with the desired outcome that manifestation can occur in a seamless and natural way. Another common pitfall in both the law of attraction and the law of assumption is the tendency to wait for the world to change instead of becoming the change oneself. Many people believe that their circumstances must change first before they can align with the desired outcome, but the true power of these laws lies in the individual's ability to shift internally first. In other words, it is not about waiting for external conditions to improve or change, but rather about becoming the person who already embodies the desired outcome. This is where the law of assumption becomes particularly powerful. Neville Goddard teaches that by assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you are effectively altering your internal state and thus your external reality. You are not waiting for something to happen, but rather shifting your consciousness to become the person who already has what they desire. Similarly, in the law of attraction, the emotional alignment and vibration of the individual must match the frequency of the desired outcome, signaling to the universe that they are ready to receive it. By taking ownership of your thoughts, feelings, and actions, you align with your desires more powerfully than waiting for them to manifest by sheer chance. A related misunderstanding is the idea of needing versus embodying. This is a subtle yet important distinction in both laws. The law of attraction often warns against the frequency of needing something, as it signals lack and scarcity to the subconscious mind. Needing something implies that you do not already have it, and this energy of need can block the flow of abundance or manifestation. Instead, the law of attraction encourages emotional alignment with the feeling of having what you desire, which shifts your vibration to one of abundance and receptivity. In the law of assumption, The focus is on embodying the state of the wish fulfilled, acting, thinking, and feeling as though the desired outcome is already a reality. This requires letting go of any sense of lack or need and assuming a state of complete ownership of the desired reality. When you embody the state of being that reflects your desires, your subconscious mind accepts it as truth, and the universe aligns with that assumption to bring about your manifestation. It is important to realize that both laws are not about achieving something external, but about becoming the person who already has it. The shift from neediness to embodiment is a profound internal change, one that requires practice and belief in the power of the mind to create reality. It is only when you let go of the desire to control outcomes and trust the process that true alignment occurs, allowing the manifestation to unfold naturally. Lastly, another common pitfall is the tendency to confuse manifestation with effort. Many people believe that manifestation is about trying harder or exerting more effort to make things happen. While it is true that focused attention and energy are important, manifestation is often about allowing and releasing the need for control. Both the law of attraction and the law of assumption emphasize the importance of trusting the process and allowing the universe to deliver your desires in the best possible way. This requires a level of detachment from the outcome, allowing the manifestation to unfold in a way that aligns with your highest good. The more effort you exert to try and force a specific outcome, the more resistance you create, which can block the flow of manifestation. Another major misunderstanding people encounter when applying both the law of attraction and the law of assumption is the tendency to overanalyze the process. The constant questioning of whether you are doing it right or whether you are seeing the right signs can lead to a state of mental paralysis. This overanalysis can actually hinder the flow of manifestation, as it creates doubt and uncertainty within the subconscious mind, which is the very opposite of the confidence needed to manifest desires. Both laws require a strong sense of conviction and trust in the process, and overanalyzing can disrupt that trust. A key lesson here is the importance of faith in the unseen. The law of attraction and the law of assumption work on a level that is beyond the logical mind's ability to fully comprehend. This is why in both systems, belief and trust are essential, because manifestation often requires you to believe in what is not yet visible in your physical reality. This requires letting go of the need for tangible evidence and embracing the faith that the universe is working in alignment with your desires. Trust that the process is unfolding even if it may not appear so at first glance. The more you trust and surrender to the flow of life, the more easily you will attract and manifest what you desire. The danger of overanalyzing is particularly evident in the law of assumption. Neville Goddard's teachings emphasize the importance of assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled and embodying that assumption as if it is already a fact. However, many individuals get stuck in a cycle of doubt and questioning, wondering if they are truly embodying the state of the wish fulfilled or if they are doing it wrong. This excessive mental activity can create resistance, which ultimately blocks the natural flow of manifestation. Instead, focus on the inner conviction that your assumption is already reality, and allow it to unfold naturally without overthinking the process. Additionally, many people mistakenly equate manifestation with a lack of effort or personal growth. There is a belief that once you align your thoughts, emotions, and assumptions with your desires, everything will simply fall into place without any further action required. While both the law of attraction and the law of assumption emphasize mental and emotional alignment, they do not exclude the need for action. Manifestation often works in partnership with inspired action, the action you take when you are aligned with the energy of your desires. For instance, if your goal is to manifest a new job, aligning with the vibration of the job you desire and assuming that you already have it may draw opportunities and synchronicities to you. However, the next step is often to take inspired action, such as applying for jobs, networking, or engaging in personal development. Manifestation is not about waiting passively for things to appear out of thin air, but rather about engaging with life in a way that reflects your alignment with your desires. Trust that the right action will come to you naturally once you've aligned with the energy of your goal. It's important to understand that the manifestation process is fluid and often requires a delicate balance between alignment and action. This is why both the law of attraction and the law of assumption work best when practiced in harmony with practical steps toward achieving your goals. By taking inspired action from a place of inner alignment, you're creating the space for your manifestations to come into physical form in the best way possible. Finally, a particularly significant pitfall in both laws is the attachment to specific outcomes. Many people become overly attached to the way they expect their desires to manifest, which can create resistance when things don't unfold exactly as planned. In the law of attraction, the universe often delivers your desires in unexpected or better ways than you could have imagined. Similarly, the law of assumption works by assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, regardless of how the desired outcome appears externally. The attachment to specific outcomes can create a narrow focus, preventing you from seeing the infinite ways in which your desires can come to fruition. Instead, both laws teach the importance of being open to how things unfold, trusting that what comes your way is aligned with your highest good, even if it doesn't look exactly as you envisioned it. Let go of rigid expectations and embrace the flow of the manifestation process, allowing the universe to surprise you with its creativity and wisdom. Neville Goddard's Teachings Deep Dive. Neville Goddard, one of the most influential figures in the metaphysical teachings around manifestation and consciousness, developed a unique and powerful perspective on how we create our reality. His work is grounded in the idea that consciousness is the only reality and that we can shape the world around us through our mental and emotional states. For Goddard, manifestation is not simply about attracting things from the external world, but about a deeper process of internal transformation that shifts our entire sense of self and our relationship with reality. At the heart of Neville Goddard's teachings is the concept of assumption, the idea that we must assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. This means that we do not need to wait for external circumstances to change before we act as if we have already achieved our desires. In fact, Goddard often emphasized that we must live in the end of our desires and assume the state of the wish fulfilled in our thoughts, feelings, and actions. By doing so, we are effectively impressing our subconscious mind with the belief that the desired outcome is already ours. This concept of living in the end is one of Goddard's most important teachings, as it implies that our reality is shaped by the mental and emotional states we assume. If we assume that we are already living in the state of the wish fulfilled, our subconscious mind will bring that assumption into our physical reality. This is the essence of Goddard's philosophy. We create our reality through our assumptions and beliefs. He teaches that our external world is a reflection of our internal consciousness, and by changing our thoughts and beliefs, we can change our world. Another foundational idea in Neville Goddard's work is the power of inner speech, the conversations we have with ourselves on a daily basis. According to Goddard, our internal dialogue is one of the most powerful tools for influencing our subconscious mind and shaping our reality. By consciously guiding our inner speech in a positive direction, we are reinforcing the assumptions we hold about ourselves and our lives. Inner speech has the ability to shape our feelings and perceptions, which in turn influence the way we interact with the world around us. For example, if you constantly tell yourself, "I am not good enough," or "I will never be successful," these assumptions will be impressed upon your subconscious mind and will manifest in your reality. On the other hand, if you change your inner speech to reflect the state of the wish fulfilled, such as "I am successful," or "I am worthy of love and abundance," you will begin to shift your self-concept and attract the circumstances that align with these new assumptions. Neville Goddard also speaks extensively about visualization as a powerful tool for manifestation. In his teachings, visualization is not simply about imagining what you want, but about feeling the reality of your desire as if it is already happening. The key is to engage all your senses in the visualization process, to see, hear, and feel the experience of having your desire fulfilled. This sensory involvement helps to solidify the belief in your subconscious mind that the desired outcome is a fact. According to Goddard, the subconscious mind cannot differentiate between what is vividly imagined and what is actually real. So by vividly imagining your desired outcome, you impress it upon the subconscious as if it has already occurred. Neville Goddard's Teachings Deep Dive. Neville Goddard's work stands as one of the most profound teachings on the power of consciousness and manifestation. At the core of his philosophy is the idea that consciousness is the only true reality, and through understanding and controlling our consciousness, we can shape the world around us. For Goddard, what we see in our external reality is a direct reflection of our inner state of mind and beliefs. This is why he emphasized that the only thing we need to change in order to manifest our desires is our inner world, our assumptions, beliefs, and perceptions. One of Goddard's central concepts is the idea of assumption, a state of mind in which you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. To live as though your desire is already a reality is one of the most powerful actions you can take in the manifestation process. Goddard frequently taught that we must not wait for external circumstances to change in order to feel the way we desire, but instead we must start by assuming the state of the wish fulfilled within ourselves. This shift in perception is the key to altering your reality, as it impresses the subconscious mind with the belief that what you desire is already true. In his teachings, Neville Goddard frequently used the term living in the end. He explained that to manifest a desired outcome, you must embody the state of mind and feeling as though the desired outcome is already part of your life. This involves moving beyond surface-level thinking and truly assuming the feeling of already being, doing, or having the thing you desire. The end result of your desire, whether it's wealth, success, love, or health, must not remain a future hope. It must be assumed as a present, real experience. By doing so, you start to operate as though it is already in your possession, aligning your inner state with the external reality you wish to experience. This powerful technique is built on the understanding that the subconscious mind works through the emotions that we experience and impress upon it. For Goddard, emotions are the bridge between the conscious and subconscious minds, and they are the key to influencing the subconscious. When you feel as though your desire is already fulfilled, you send a strong message to your subconscious that this is your new reality. Emotions are the language of the subconscious, and through consistent emotional alignment with your desired state, you begin to manifest the circumstances that align with your assumed state of being. Inner speech is a tool for manifestation. In addition to visualization, Neville Goddard placed significant emphasis on inner speech, the words we speak to ourselves in our minds. He believed that our inner dialogue has an incredibly powerful effect on our manifestation process. The way we talk to ourselves, whether positive or negative, directly impacts our self-concept and what we manifest in our lives. If we constantly speak negatively to ourselves, saying things like, "I'm not good enough," "I'll never succeed," or "I'm not deserving of love," we reinforce these negative assumptions in our subconscious minds. As a result, these limiting beliefs will manifest in our lives in the form of obstacles, challenges, and disappointments. On the other hand, by consciously changing our inner speech to reflect the state of the wish fulfilled, we start to impress our subconscious with positive, empowering beliefs. Goddard often taught that our inner speech should be aligned with the assumption of the desired outcome. For example, telling yourself, "I am abundant," "I am successful," or "I am worthy of love." When we speak these words with feeling and conviction, we are strengthening our belief in them and allowing them to shape our reality. Our internal dialogue must reflect the truth we wish to embody, as it directly affects the energy we project and the opportunities that come our way. Furthermore, Neville Goddard spoke about consciousness as the only reality. What we believe in our consciousness is what we experience in the physical world, and our internal assumptions ultimately determine the course of our lives. In his teachings, Goddard often referred to this concept as consciousness is the key to manifestation. This means that if we can consciously direct our thoughts and beliefs in alignment with our desires, we can unlock the power of manifestation. Our external reality is not fixed, it is fluid and ever-changing, shaped by our internal state of consciousness. When we assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, we are directing our consciousness toward the reality we wish to experience. Visualization and emotional alignment. Another significant technique Neville Goddard employed in his teachings was visualization. However, for Goddard, visualization was not just about imagining a desired outcome in a detached intellectual way. Visualization, as he taught it, was a deeply emotional process. To truly manifest, you must not only visualize the desired outcome, but feel the emotions that come with it as if it were happening right now. Goddard's method of visualization involved engaging all of the senses in the experience, seeing, hearing, and most importantly, feeling the desired experience. For example, if you desire financial abundance, Goddard would encourage you to vividly imagine yourself already having the wealth you desire, but more importantly, to feel the emotions that come with it, the sense of freedom, joy, and security that accompanies wealth. The more you can immerse yourself in these emotions, the more powerful the visualization becomes, and the stronger the impression it makes on your subconscious. The feeling of the wish fulfilled is the key, as it aligns your emotional state with the vibration of your desire. This process of emotional visualization works because the subconscious mind cannot distinguish between what is real and what is vividly imagined. If you imagine something so vividly and feel it so deeply, the subconscious accepts it as real and will begin to bring it into your physical experience. This is why visualization and emotional alignment are such powerful tools. They help you to feel as though your desires are already part of your reality, thus attracting the circumstances that align with that state of being. One of Neville Goddard's most transformative teachings revolves around the concept of revision, a method for reprogramming the subconscious mind by revisiting and changing past events. Goddard taught that our past experiences do not need to be fixed or permanent, as we have the ability to reinterpret and revise them within our consciousness. According to him, revision is a powerful tool that allows us to change the way we perceive past events, thus altering their impact on our present and future. To revise a past event, Goddard encouraged individuals to mentally reconstruct the event in such a way that it ends according to their desired outcome. For instance, if you experienced a negative interaction in the past, you can mentally go back to that moment, revise it in your imagination, and reframe it so that the interaction ends on a positive note. By doing so, you are altering the emotional charge associated with the event, and by extension, the beliefs that stem from it. This process works because the subconscious mind cannot distinguish between a past event and a revised one when it is vividly imagined. Therefore, through revision, you effectively neutralize the emotional charge of past experiences, which clears the way for new positive outcomes to manifest in your life. Goddard emphasized that the key to revision is feeling. As with all of his techniques, the revision must be accompanied by the emotional experience of the desired outcome. The revision process allows you to change your inner story, and since the outer world is a reflection of your inner world, this new story will eventually be reflected in your reality. By practicing revision, you not only alter the emotional connection to past events but also train your subconscious to accept the reality you wish to live in. This reprogramming process is crucial for creating lasting changes in your life, as it removes the blockages caused by past experiences and empowers you to create a new narrative. The imagination as the gateway to manifestation. For Neville Goddard, imagination is not a mere fantasy, but the key to reality creation. He firmly believed that the imagination is the creative power within us, and it is through imaginative acts that we shape and mold our external world. Imagination is the tool through which we impress our desires upon the subconscious mind and activate the process of manifestation. In his lectures, Goddard frequently stated that the imagination is the means by which we bring the unseen into the seen, and that all of creation begins with a thought or image in the mind. To effectively use imagination for manifestation, Goddard encouraged individuals to engage in imaginal acts, mentally experiencing the fulfillment of their desires. This practice involves creating a vivid mental image of your desired outcome, and then feeling the emotions that would arise from having it. For example, if you desire a new job, you would imagine yourself already in that job, experiencing the feelings of success, satisfaction, and joy that accompany it. This imaginal act helps to impress the desired outcome upon your subconscious, and as you continue to experience this mental image with feeling, it becomes accepted as a new reality. Goddard emphasized the importance of doing this practice before sleep, a time when the conscious mind is at rest and the subconscious is most receptive. He recommended using the moments before sleep as a prime opportunity to impress the subconscious with the image and feeling of the wish fulfilled. By doing so, you are planting the seed for manifestation in the fertile soil of the subconscious mind. When you wake up, the subconscious mind will begin to work on aligning your reality with the vision you planted. The law of assumption and the power of belief. One of the most profound aspects of Neville Goddard's teachings is the law of assumption, the idea that we must assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled in order to manifest our desires. This law operates on the premise that whatever we assume to be true, whether it's about ourselves or the world around us, becomes our reality. The law of assumption is deeply connected to Goddard's core teaching that consciousness is the only reality, and by assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, we align our consciousness with our desires. The power of assumption is based on the understanding that the subconscious mind does not question or analyze the assumptions we make, it simply accepts them as truth. When we assume a state of mind that reflects the reality we wish to experience, the subconscious mind goes to work to bring that reality into being. For example, if you assume that you are successful, abundant, or loved, the subconscious will bring you circumstances and opportunities that align with those assumptions. The more you can assume the feelings of the wish fulfilled, the more quickly and powerfully your desires will materialize. Goddard's teachings on assumption are not limited to material desires but extend to the entire concept of self-concept. He taught that our external world is a reflection of how we see ourselves, and by changing our self-concept to reflect our desired outcomes, we can transform our reality. This is why it is essential to assume the best version of yourself, the person who already possesses what you desire, and embody that version fully in your thoughts, feelings, and actions. A central pillar of Neville Goddard's philosophy is the concept that consciousness is the only reality. Goddard teaches that the external world is a reflection of our inner consciousness, meaning that the state of our thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions directly shapes the world we experience. This idea aligns with the principle that everything in the physical realm is a manifestation of a mental and spiritual reality, a concept also found in ancient teachings such as Hermeticism and Vedantic philosophy. To Goddard, our external experiences, the people we meet, the situations we face, and the conditions we encounter, are all a reflection of the state of our internal consciousness. If we wish to change our reality, we must first shift our consciousness to align with the desired outcome. This means that we must change our internal assumptions about ourselves, the world, and others to match the version of reality we want to experience. When we consciously decide to embody a new self-concept, this new identity becomes reflected back to us in the external world. The idea that consciousness is the only reality is not just a philosophical stance, but a practical method for creating the life you desire. By changing the state of your consciousness, your thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions, you automatically begin to shift the circumstances of your life. This is why Goddard encourages his followers to not only visualize and feel their desires, but to deeply internalize the belief that they already live in the state of their wish fulfilled. The more you can consciously affirm this truth within yourself, the more your external reality will align with it. This teaching challenges the conventional idea that the world is fixed and unchangeable, instead suggesting that we are the creators of our own reality. Goddard's message empowers individuals to recognize the creative power they have within themselves, emphasizing that by mastering the consciousness, they can master the circumstances of their lives. The power of the I am. Another core teaching of Neville Goddard is the immense power of the phrase I am. He believed that these two words, I am, hold the key to creating and shaping our reality. According to Goddard, whatever follows I am becomes an expression of who we are, and our subconscious mind accepts this as a directive to create that reality. For example, if you say I am wealthy, I am confident, or I am loved, you are impressing these beliefs into your subconscious, which in turn helps to bring them into your experience. The power of I am lies in its ability to define and shape your identity, because your identity is the blueprint by which you create your life. The subconscious mind accepts the I am statements without question, and it begins to manifest circumstances and experiences that match these declarations. By using I am statements, you are actively declaring your desired reality and setting it in motion. This is why Goddard emphasized the importance of choosing our words carefully, as they directly influence our internal state, and by extension the world around us. Goddard often urged his followers to live from the feeling of I am, and to claim the state of being they desired, whether that's abundance, success, health, or love. He taught that we should not wait for external evidence to confirm our desires, but rather assume the state of being that we want to experience, and the world will reflect this assumption. The more you consistently affirm your I am statements with feeling and conviction, the more powerfully they will shape your external reality, faith, and trust in the process. While Neville Goddard's teachings emphasize the power of the mind to create reality, he also stresses the importance of faith and trust in the process of manifestation. Faith, according to Goddard, is not just about belief in an outcome, but the complete trust that the process of manifestation is unfolding according to divine law. When we truly trust in the process, we let go of doubt and impatience, and we allow the universe to bring our desires into fruition in its own time. Faith in the process also means recognizing that once we have assumed the feeling of the wish fulfilled, we must let go of the need to control the outcome. Goddard teaches that doubt and impatience are the two biggest obstacles to manifestation, because they reveal a lack of trust in the subconscious mind's ability to deliver on our desires. Instead of constantly checking and rechecking the outer world for signs of progress, we must simply trust that our assumptions will manifest when the time is right. The key is to remain persistent in your inner assumptions and emotional alignment, while releasing any attachment to the how and when of manifestation. This trust is not about passivity or inaction, but about surrendering control of the process and remaining confident that the universe is working in harmony with your desires. Through this deep trust, the energy of resistance is removed, and manifestation becomes a natural process, guided by your inner knowing and faith in the process. Living from the end. One of the most powerful teachings of Neville Goddard is the idea of living from the end. To live from the end means to live as though your desires have already manifested in your life, rather than waiting for external conditions to change before you act. This teaching is about embodying the end result of your desire in the present moment, whether it's success, wealth, love, or anything else, and acting as if it is already a part of your reality. Goddard encourages his followers to mentally and emotionally inhabit the state of the wish fulfilled, as though it is already part of their lives. For example, if you desire financial abundance, you would begin to think, act, and feel as though you are already wealthy, living from the end of having already achieved your goal. By doing so, you align yourself with the vibration of your desire, and the universe responds by bringing that reality into your experience. Living from the end removes the feeling of lack or need, as you are no longer chasing your desires but embodying them as part of your present reality. This practice of living from the end is transformative because it shifts the focus from what is missing in your life to what is already here. It reinforces the understanding that you are the creator of your reality and that by embodying the state of your fulfilled desire, you activate the manifestation process. The role of feeling in manifestation. Neville Goddard's teachings place an immense focus on the power of feeling in the process of manifestation. For Goddard, feeling is not just a byproduct of a thought or assumption, but the actual creative force that brings desires into physical reality. He emphasized that the feeling of the wish fulfilled, the deep emotional experience of already having what you desire, is the catalyst that activates the subconscious mind to begin materializing that desire in the world. Goddard taught that the subconscious mind responds more to emotion than to logical thoughts or reasoning. Emotions are the energy that fuel the manifestation process, and the stronger the emotional intensity behind a thought or assumption, the more powerfully that thought will manifest. This is why simply thinking about a desire is not enough. The desire must be felt, embodied, and experienced with passion and conviction. To fully engage with this concept, Goddard recommended practicing visualization techniques that evoke intense emotion. For example, when imagining your desired outcome, you must not just picture it, but feel the emotions associated with it, the joy, the relief, the excitement, or the peace that would come with its manifestation. These feelings are the energetic fuel that propels your desires from the realm of imagination into the physical world. Furthermore, Goddard stated that the emotional state you embody should not be that of wanting or lacking your desire, but rather the feeling of having it now. When you are in a state of wanting, you are energetically affirming that you do not have what you desire, and this creates a vibrational mismatch. Instead, when you feel that your desire has already been fulfilled, you align your vibration with the outcome you wish to see materialize. This emotional alignment is essential in bridging the gap between thought and manifestation, assumption, imagination, and the creative power of thought. Another fundamental aspect of Neville Goddard's teachings is the idea that imagination and assumption are the main tools we can use to shape and create our reality. Imagination is the vehicle that carries our desires from the abstract realm of thought into tangible physical form, and assumption is the belief that our desires are already fulfilled, even before we see evidence of it. The act of assumption is more than just a mental exercise. It is an intentional way of living and perceiving the world. When you assume that a particular outcome is already true, you are shifting your consciousness to a state that aligns with that outcome. Goddard taught that the more vividly you imagine a desired situation, the more your subconscious will begin to believe it to be true. This belief, in turn, influences your actions, thoughts, and behaviors in ways that help bring your desired outcome into reality. Imagination is the creative faculty that allows us to design the life we wish to experience, and it is through consistent practice of imagining and assuming the end result that we manifest our desires. For Goddard, imagination is not just a fantasy but a direct and powerful creative force. He encouraged his followers to engage in conscious, deliberate imagining, to envision themselves living the life they desire, and to feel the emotions of that life as though it is already happening. The creative power of thought is closely tied to our internal assumptions about reality. Goddard stressed that our assumptions shape our perception of the world, and by changing our assumptions we can change our reality. This is why living from the end, assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and consistently using imagination and visualization are all so powerful. They allow us to reprogram our subconscious to align with our desires. Living in a state of gratitude. Gratitude is another important aspect of Neville Goddard's teachings, as he believed it to be an essential element in the manifestation process. Gratitude is the emotional state that signifies acceptance of the desired reality and appreciation for the present moment. When you live in a state of gratitude, you signal to your subconscious that you are already in harmony with your desires and the universe is already providing for you. According to Goddard, gratitude helps to reinforce the feeling of having the wish fulfilled. By expressing gratitude for the reality you want to manifest, you are acknowledging that it has already arrived and you are energetically aligning yourself with that outcome. Gratitude is not just about saying thank you but feeling genuinely thankful for the manifestation of your desires. The act of living in gratitude also helps to shift your focus away from what you lack and towards what you already have. This shift in focus is essential for manifestation, as it helps to cultivate a mindset of abundance rather than scarcity. When you are grateful for what you have and trust that more will come, you attract more of the same energy into your life. By practicing gratitude consistently, you further reinforce your belief that you are worthy of the desires you are manifesting, and you align your vibration with the abundance of the universe. Gratitude acts as a magnet for more positive experiences, and it helps to maintain a high vibrational state, which is essential for the manifestation process. The power of inner speech and auto-suggestion. Inner speech, the conversations we have with ourselves, plays a critical role in the manifestation process, according to Neville Goddard. Goddard taught that our inner dialogue is constantly influencing our beliefs, emotions, and actions, and therefore it directly affects our reality. The words we speak to ourselves in our minds are just as powerful as the words we speak out loud, and they shape the way we perceive the world and ourselves. Goddard emphasized the importance of auto-suggestion, the practice of repeating positive, empowering affirmations to oneself in order to change the subconscious mind's beliefs. Auto-suggestion involves consciously directing your inner speech toward the fulfillment of your desires, and by doing so, you impress those desires upon your subconscious. For example, if you are seeking success, you would affirm to yourself daily, "I am successful, and success flows easily to me." By repeating such affirmations, you are reprogramming your subconscious to accept that success is your natural state, which in turn attracts success into your life. Inner speech and auto-suggestion are powerful tools because they can be practiced at any moment in quiet reflection, throughout the day, or even while drifting off to sleep. The more you consciously affirm positive beliefs and ideas, the more they become ingrained in your subconscious, and the more they shape your reality. Goddard recommended using these techniques alongside visualization, as they work in harmony to align the mind and emotions with the desired outcome. Abraham-Hicks, a name that resonates deeply within the Law of Attraction (LOA) community, represents a collective consciousness that channels wisdom through Esther Hicks. This body of teachings, attributed to Abraham, has influenced millions worldwide by offering a more emotionally centered approach to manifestation and understanding the universal laws. The teachings of Abraham-Hicks have become synonymous with concepts like the emotional guidance scale, the vortex, and the idea of vibrational escrow, which offer practical steps to mastering the law of attraction. The emotional guidance scale. One of the foundational concepts in the Abraham-Hicks teachings is the emotional guidance scale. According to this model, every emotional state can be placed on a spectrum that ranges from despair and fear at the bottom to joy and love at the top. This scale is a tool for understanding where you currently stand emotionally, and more importantly, how to consciously raise your vibration in alignment with your desires. Abraham teaches that our emotions serve as indicators or feedback from the universe. When we feel good, we are in vibrational alignment with our desires, and when we feel bad, we are out of alignment with what we want. The key, they suggest, is to move incrementally up the scale toward better feeling emotions, rather than trying to jump directly to joy when we feel stuck in negative emotions. For example, if you're feeling frustration, the goal would be to shift to thoughts that evoke feelings of hope or relief. Even if you don't feel joyous immediately, the emotional guidance scale offers a practical tool for managing emotional well-being while navigating the challenges of manifestation. Instead of focusing solely on the end result, Abraham encourages individuals to focus on how they feel in the present moment and take small steps toward improving that feeling. Over time, these small shifts in emotion add up, eventually allowing you to align with the vibrational frequency of your desires. Vibrational escrow. Another powerful concept from Abraham-Hicks is the idea of vibrational escrow. This term refers to the bank of vibrationally matched experiences that the universe has set aside for you. Whenever you set an intention or desire, the universe immediately begins to arrange the necessary circumstances for it to manifest. However, before this can happen, there is a need for you to align with the frequency of that desire, to be in vibrational harmony with it. Vibrational escrow represents the universe's readiness to deliver on your desires, but it's contingent on your ability to be a match for those desires energetically. If you're desiring wealth, for example, your vibrational escrow is already full of financial abundance, but you must align your thoughts, emotions, and actions with the frequency of abundance for that money to flow into your life. This means releasing resistance, doubts, and negative beliefs about money and allowing yourself to be a vibrational match for prosperity. Abraham-Hicks teaches that the universe is abundant and always eager to deliver on our desires, but it is our responsibility to align with the vibrational frequency that will allow this delivery to occur. Vibrational escrow is a reminder that the universe is always providing for us, but it requires us to meet it halfway by holding the frequency of our desires in our thoughts and emotions. The more we can maintain this alignment, the faster and more smoothly our manifestations come to us. The vortex and allowing mode. The concept of the vortex is another key teaching in the Abraham-Hicks philosophy. According to Abraham, the vortex is the energetic space where everything you've ever wanted already exists, waiting for you to align with it vibrationally. The vortex holds all of your desires, dreams, and intentions, but you must be in a state of allowing for them to manifest in your physical reality. The practice of being in the vortex is all about aligning your thoughts, emotions, and energy with the vibration of your desires. When you are in the vortex, you are in perfect harmony with your intentions, and everything you desire flows to you with ease. This state of alignment is often described as one of joy, ease, and fluidity, where you feel connected to your desires and the universe. Abraham-Hicks emphasizes that when you are in the vortex, there is no resistance, and you are allowing the natural flow of the universe to bring your desires to you. To get into the vortex, Abraham suggests focusing on positive thoughts, practicing appreciation, and being mindful of how you feel in the present moment. When you shift your focus toward thoughts that feel good and align with your desires, you naturally enter the vortex and begin to attract everything that is in vibrational alignment with you. The key to maintaining your place in the vortex is to remain in a state of allowing, meaning you trust that your desires are on their way to you, and you release any attachment to the timing or the how of their arrival. The more you practice allowing, the more you become a magnet for the positive experiences you've been asking for. Contrast and alignment. Abraham-Hicks often talks about contrast as an important part of the manifestation process. Contrast refers to the challenges, setbacks, or difficult situations we experience, which help us to clarify what we truly want. While contrast may initially feel unpleasant, Abraham teaches that it is essential for personal growth and for refining our desires. When we encounter something we don't want, it gives us a clear understanding of what we do want, and this clarity helps us align more deeply with our true desires. The key is to use contrast as a tool for alignment rather than resisting it. Instead of reacting to difficult situations with frustration or despair, Abraham encourages individuals to see contrast as an opportunity to fine-tune their desires and to move closer to the things they truly want. By focusing on the positive aspects of contrast and using it to clarify our desires, we shift our energy into alignment with our true goals. Abraham's teachings suggest that contrast is not something to be feared or avoided, but something that helps us grow and expand. As we encounter challenges, we learn more about ourselves and the kind of life we want to create, and this deeper understanding strengthens our alignment with our desires. One of the most recurring themes in the Abraham-Hicks material is that alignment is everything. When you are in alignment, you are tuned in to the frequency of your higher self, source energy, or what Abraham simply calls who you really are. This alignment is not merely a mood or fleeting emotional state. It is a conscious return to the truth of your being. It is from this place that all true manifestation occurs. Abraham describes alignment as the feeling of ease, flow, joy, and inspiration. It's the experience of letting go of struggle, of efforting, and allowing your natural state of well-being to rise to the surface. It is through alignment that we receive intuitive nudges, inspired ideas, and synchronistic events that bring us closer to our desires. To reach this state, Abraham recommends developing a practice of daily alignment, often in the morning, when your thoughts are clearest and least clouded by the noise of the day. One method is simply sitting in silence, focusing on your breath, and intending to feel good, even if there's no apparent reason to. Abraham says you don't need a reason to feel good, you just need to choose it. The more you practice choosing good-feeling thoughts, the more momentum you build toward alignment. Momentum is another core concept in their teaching. The idea that once you start thinking a thought, it gathers more like thoughts, and those thoughts attract matching experiences. In short, the better you feel, the better it gets, because your aligned state becomes magnetic to everything that resonates at that frequency. Getting into the receiving mode. Abraham often describes the goal of this work as getting into what they call the receiving mode. The receiving mode is the mental and emotional state in which you are open and ready to receive all that you've asked for. If you've placed a desire into the vortex, it already exists in energetic form, but you can only receive it once you're on the same wavelength. Think of it like tuning your radio to a station. If you're tuned to 95.5 FM but your desire is being broadcast on 107 FM, you're not going to hear it. The content exists, it's playing, but your receiver isn't aligned with it. You've got to match the frequency of your desire. This is why Abraham places such a strong emphasis on feeling good. Good feelings are the signpost that you're aligned and tuned in to the frequency of what you've asked for. You don't have to force or chase, you simply allow. the more relaxed, joyful, and expectant you are, the more easily you move into the receiving mode. When you're in the receiving mode, things click. You think of someone and they call. You take a random turn and discover the perfect opportunity. You feel nudged to do something spontaneous, and it opens a new door. These are not accidents. They are manifestations being delivered now that you're finally in a state to receive them. Letting go of resistance. Just as alignment is central to Abraham-Hicks, so too is the idea of resistance. Resistance is what blocks manifestation. It's the friction in your energy that pushes away the very things you desire. You might want abundance, but if you believe money is hard to get, or that you're unworthy, that belief is a form of resistance. The universe listens not to your words, but to your dominant vibration. And if that vibration is mixed with doubt, fear, or worry, it slows the manifestation down. One of Abraham's most powerful insights is this: you can't get there from there. You can't reach joy from despair without moving through incremental emotional shifts. You can't manifest wealth while obsessing over lack. You can't attract love while affirming your loneliness with your energy. The solution is not to fake it or suppress the negative. It's to release resistance and naturally rise to a better feeling thought. Abraham encourages practices that soothe resistance, such as meditation, appreciation, nature walks, music, or anything that brings relief. Relief is a key sign that resistance is softening. You don't need to make a giant leap. You just need to feel a little better right now, and then a little better after that. This gradual process shifts your vibration until you're no longer resisting what you've been asking for. The power of appreciation. While gratitude is commonly practiced in many spiritual traditions, Abraham makes a subtle yet important distinction between gratitude and appreciation. Gratitude often comes with a sense of overcoming or surviving something challenging. I'm so grateful I made it through. Whereas appreciation is more purely focused on the joy and beauty of the now. Appreciation, in the Abraham lexicon, is one of the highest vibrational states you can occupy. It is a form of love without attachment or longing. It's seeing the best in the moment, appreciating a sunset, a child's laugh, a comfortable chair, a song that lifts your spirit, and milking it for all the good feelings it brings. The more time you spend in appreciation, the more you anchor yourself in high vibration. Abraham often encourages rampages of appreciation, spontaneous flowing monologues where you speak out loud or write everything you appreciate right now. It might sound simple, even silly, but it creates powerful momentum. I love how the air feels right now. I love the way the sunlight is hitting the trees. I love how peaceful this moment feels. I love the clarity I'm gaining. I love knowing things are working out for me. I love how good this coffee tastes. I love that I'm alive and here. A few minutes of this practice, especially daily, can elevate your mood and shift your frequency quickly. You become magnetized to more things that bring appreciation, and your reality responds in kind. Manifestation is a natural outcome. Abraham is very clear. Manifestation is not something you do. It is something that happens naturally as a result of alignment. You don't need to obsess over the how or micromanage every step. In fact, trying too hard can often introduce resistance. The real work is in aligning with joy, clarity, and trust, then allowing the rest to unfold. Once you understand this, the pressure lifts. You no longer feel the urgency to make it happen. Instead, you focus on cultivating the emotional and vibrational state that lets it in. This is what Abraham means by the art of allowing life to work for you rather than pushing against it. From this place, your life becomes a series of serendipitous events, happy accidents, and inspired choices. You no longer feel like you're chasing your dreams, you're living them. You become the deliberate creator of your reality, not through control but through vibrational mastery. The vortex, where everything you want already exists. One of the most intriguing and central teachings in the Abraham-Hicks framework is the concept of the vortex. It's a metaphorical place, not physical, but vibrational, where everything you've ever wanted is already waiting for you. Every desire, every dream, every improved version of your life has already been created vibrationally and stored in this non-physical reservoir. The moment you experience contrast, something unwanted, your inner being instantly creates a vibrational solution and places it in the vortex. You don't even need to articulate the desire, the universe does it automatically. For example, if you feel unappreciated in your job, your vortex immediately contains a reality where you feel valued, respected, and aligned with purposeful work. This means you're constantly launching desires into the vortex, consciously or not. The problem is not that your desires aren't being answered, it's that you're often not vibrationally aligned with them. Abraham's core message is that the vortex is real, It's active and it's always expanding, and your task is to get in there and stay there. Getting into the vortex doesn't require effort, it requires alignment. Joy, ease, appreciation, fun. These emotions signal that you've stepped into the vibrational vicinity of your vortex. You're now occupying the same space as your dreams, and in that space, manifestation becomes inevitable. Contrast, the catalyst for expansion. To understand the law of attraction fully, you have to understand the role of contrast. Abraham doesn't see negative experiences or emotions as problems. Instead, they are essential parts of the creative process. Contrast is what causes you to clarify your desires, and without it, you wouldn't expand. When something goes wrong, you automatically ask for something better. If you experience scarcity, you ask for abundance. If you feel lonely, you ask for love. If you feel stuck, you ask for freedom. And every time you ask, even without words, the universe responds instantly. But here's where people get tripped up. Instead of turning toward the improved version of their life, they keep their attention fixated on what's wrong. They rehearse the lack, repeat the complaint, and energize the problem with their focus. And in doing so, they block themselves from receiving what they've already created. Abraham teaches us to appreciate contrast without clinging to it. Let it inform your preferences, then shift your attention to what feels better. That's where your power lies, not in controlling the world, but in directing your focus and vibration. In other words, life causes you to ask and source answers, but it's up to you to allow the answer in. That's the art of conscious creation, emotional guidance, your built-in GPS. In Abraham's teachings, emotions are not random reactions. They are precise indicators of your alignment with Source. They are your internal compass, guiding you moment by moment. When you feel joy, love, clarity, or passion, you're aligned. When you feel frustration, doubt, fear, or anger, you're out of alignment. It's that simple. This emotional scale is your feedback system. It tells you whether your current thoughts match your higher perspective or not. When your thoughts align with the way your inner being sees a situation, you feel relief or even joy. When your thoughts contradict that higher perspective, you feel negative emotion. For example, if you lose a job and think my life is over, I'll never recover, you feel fear or despair, not because the thought is true, but because your inner being knows something better is coming and disagrees with your assessment. The negative emotion is the signal that you're off track. By tuning into your emotions, you gain real-time insight into your alignment. This is why Abraham emphasizes the importance of emotional awareness. It's not about judging yourself for negative feelings. It's about recognizing them as valuable messengers. They're telling you, hey, there's a better thought available to you right now, raising your vibration, step by step. So how do you actually raise your vibration when you're feeling low? Abraham offers a few key methods. Focus wheels. You start with a topic that feels slightly off and find aspects of it that feel good, slowly building positive momentum. Rampages of appreciation. As mentioned earlier, you pour your energy into recognizing everything that feels good in your life, however small. Segment intending. Before you enter a new segment of your day, a conversation, a meeting, a task, you pause and set an intention for how you want it to go. This aligns your vibration in advance and sets the tone. General thoughts first. If you're stuck in negative emotion, don't try to jump to joy immediately. Go general. This too shall pass. Things are always working out for me. There's something I'm learning here. And once you stabilize, you can reach for higher feelings. Abraham reminds us that vibration is malleable and moment-based. You don't have to fix your whole life, you just have to feel a little better now. That shift repeated over time moves mountains. Let the universe surprise you. One of the most liberating teachings from Abraham-Hicks is the idea that the universe can orchestrate things far better than your logical mind can. When you let go of needing to figure everything out, you open space for inspired action. This is action that flows from alignment, not anxiety. It's when you feel an inner nudge to call someone, go somewhere, or say something, and it leads to a breakthrough. In contrast, action taken from misalignment often feels like struggle, frustration, or panic. It might get things done, but it's not effective energetically. Inspired action, on the other hand, is effortless, intuitive, and powerful. You often don't realize the full significance of it until later, when the dots connect. Abraham encourages us to play with life, to treat it like a cooperative game with the universe. Let the universe surprise and delight you. Don't demand the how, just get into alignment and trust the process. You'll be amazed at how the people, opportunities, and resources you need will find their way to you, closing the gap between where you are and where you want to be. Ultimately, Abraham-Hicks and the law of attraction offer a simple yet revolutionary truth. You are the creator of your reality. Your emotions are your guide, your vibration is your point of power. And the universe is always responding to your frequency, not your words, not your effort, but your state of being. Whether you're manifesting a new home, a relationship, inner peace, or a career shift, the formula is the same. Clarify the desire, often through contrast. Focus on the feeling of having it. Let go of resistance and allow yourself to receive. You don't have to be perfect, you just need to feel a little better, consistently. The journey is supposed to be joyful, not a test. And the more you practice alignment, the more natural it becomes. Eventually, manifestation becomes a lifestyle, not something you do, but something you are. You are the vortex. You are source in human form, and your power lies not in controlling the world, but in mastering your vibration, your energy, your emotions, your focus. When you do that, everything changes. Life becomes lighter, brighter, and full of magical unfoldings. Just like Abraham says, "You're so loved, the universe is always conspiring on your behalf, and everything you want is already done. You just have to get into the receiving mode." Integrating both laws into daily life. We've now journeyed through the foundations of both the law of attraction and the law of assumption. We've explored their origins, their methods, their spiritual philosophies, and their psychological implications. But now the question arises, how do you actually live this? How do you take these metaphysical teachings and bring them into your everyday life in a way that's both empowering and practical? The answer lies not in choosing one law over the other, but in learning to harmonize both. The law of attraction teaches you to raise your vibration through joy, appreciation, and alignment. The law of assumption teaches you to embody the version of yourself who already has what they desire, and persist in that inner conviction until it hardens into fact. These are not conflicting, they are complementary. Together, they offer a complete system for conscious creation. You are a vibrational being. You are also a powerful imaginal creator. You can learn to feel the energy of what you want and think from the end result at the same time. You can move through your day with inner certainty while radiating a magnetic frequency. Let's break down how that integration can look in real life. Morning rituals that set the tone. The moment you wake up, you are at a vibrational crossroads. Your subconscious mind is still in a suggestible, impressionable state, meaning it's the perfect time to install both vibrational alignment and self-concept assumption. Most people unconsciously pick up yesterday's beliefs, feelings, and worries as soon as they wake up, but you can choose differently. Start your day with intention. Before you reach for your phone or think about the day's tasks, close your eyes and enter a state of calm awareness. From there, you can do any combination of the following practices. Gratitude rampage. Speak or think of everything you appreciate. This raises your vibration and anchors you in abundance. Imaginal act. Enter a light meditative state and imagine a scene that implies your desire has already manifested. Feel it real. Affirmations. Use simple statements that reinforce your chosen self-concept. I am abundant. I am loved. I always get what I want. Scripting. Write a journal entry as if you're already living your dream life. Focus on the emotions it brings up. This combination of vibrational elevation and assumptive thinking begins to shift your inner world. And as you know by now, your outer world reflects your inner one. Living as if versus feeling your way there. One of the most common questions from people on this path is, do I act as if I already have it, or do I just focus on the feeling? This is where the fusion of LOA and LOA assumption becomes really beautiful. From Neville Goddard's perspective, you are to mentally dwell in the end, to imagine and assume your wish fulfilled. You do this primarily through inner work, visualization, inner speech, and emotional conviction. You are not necessarily changing your physical actions, you are changing your inner identity. The law of attraction, on the other hand, encourages you to feel good, to follow what lights you up, to listen to your emotional guidance, and to act in ways that match your vibration. From this view, you're becoming a vibrational match to your desires, which naturally draws them in. When you combine these ideas, you realize it's not about pretending or forcing actions, it's about being. Living as if doesn't mean fake it till you make it. It means energetically occupying the space of your desired reality now. Sometimes that might lead you to take bold action. Sometimes it might mean resting in trust. There's no one-size-fits-all formula. There's only alignment. Ask yourself daily, who am I being right now? Not what am I doing, but what energy, what identity, what assumption am I living from? That's the real work. Evening practices for subconscious reinforcement. Just as your morning state is powerful, your evening state is equally, if not more impactful. As your brain enters the theta and delta waves of sleep, your subconscious becomes more impressionable. This is when your inner assumptions get locked in, or reset, based on what you dwell on before bed. Neville taught the powerful practice of revising your day and entering sleep in the wish fulfilled. Here's how to combine that with vibrational alignment. Revision. Go back through your day in imagination and change any moments that didn't align with your ideal self. Replay them as you wish they had gone, not as they did. This impresses new assumptions and dissolves past energy. Gratitude recap. Think of everything that went well, even the small things. This activates your vibrational escrow and raises your mood before sleep. Imaginal sleep. As you drift into sleep, imagine a scene that implies your desire is now real. Don't visualize it with effort. Feel it gently, naturally, as if you're remembering a memory. Let that be the last vibration you emit before you enter the subconscious realm. The sleep state is where most of the energetic integration happens. If you go to bed feeling powerful, grateful, and fulfilled, your subconscious goes to work creating a world that reflects those feelings, persisting without forcing. Perhaps one of the greatest challenges and paradoxes of manifestation is persistence without resistance. How do you stay focused on your desire without becoming desperate for it? How do you assume it's done without checking for signs every 5 minutes? This is where both laws offer subtle wisdom. The law of assumption reminds you to remain faithful to the unseen reality. Even if nothing has changed yet, you hold the assumption as true because you are the operant power. You persist in your inner knowing. You do not need proof, you are the proof. The law of attraction adds an emotional layer. It reminds you that desperation, lack, or frustration emit a low vibration that repels what you want. So rather than obsessing, you focus on feeling good now, appreciating the journey, loving the unfolding, trusting the timing. Persistence doesn't mean rigid attachment. It means relaxing into the assumption that it's already yours. It means continuing to think from the end while enjoying where you are. When the feeling of desire shifts into calm expectancy, that's when you know you're aligned. Scripting and affirmations as dual tools. Scripting and affirmations are often seen as basic manifestation tools, but when used with intentionality, they serve as powerful bridges between the law of attraction and the law of assumption. Each technique allows you to consciously speak to the subconscious, elevate your emotional state, and embody the self-concept of your ideal reality. Let's start with scripting. This is the practice of writing about your life as if everything you desire has already happened. You step into the role of the person who has it all and describe your day, your experiences, your emotions, and your relationships from that point of view. You might begin your journal entry with "I am so grateful now that," or "today was amazing because," and allow the words to flow as if you're remembering a beautiful day from your future. Scripting engages your imagination, the tool Neville Goddard emphasized again and again. It requires you to generate mental images, feelings, and beliefs that align with your desired reality. But at the same time, the process of writing and reading back your own words can create a shift in vibration. It can spark genuine joy, excitement, and appreciation. That's the LOA kicking in, raising your emotional frequency. Similarly, affirmations serve both laws when practiced correctly. From the law of assumption view, affirmations are a method of reprogramming the subconscious mind. Repetition of "I am" statements, even if they feel false at first, begins to sink into the subconscious and create new assumptions. I am successful, I am wealthy, I am chosen. These statements, when persisted in, start to overwrite the limiting beliefs you've carried for years. From an LOA perspective, affirmations can be used not only to shift belief, but to generate an emotional response. The key is to say them in a way that moves you emotionally, that makes you smile, sigh with relief, or feel chills down your spine. Emotion is the fuel that gives affirmations power. Flat repetition with no feeling is like trying to light a fire with wet wood. But affirmations spoken or written with conviction are lightning bolts to your reality. You can combine scripting and affirmations into one powerful morning or evening routine, or even create audio recordings of your voice affirming your new self-concept, and listen as you fall asleep. The possibilities are endless. The core principle remains: you are deliberately choosing your inner state. Imaginal acts in everyday moments. Imagining the end isn't just something you do during meditation or before sleep. It can be part of your day-to-day life in the in-between moments. You can turn waiting in line at the store, walking the dog, or brushing your teeth into opportunities to solidify your inner reality. Neville referred to these small imaginal moments as acts, simple, vivid scenes that imply your wish is being fulfilled. You don't need to visualize the entire life you want in full detail. You just need a symbolic moment that captures the essence. Example: Hearing someone congratulate you on your success, looking at your reflection and feeling proud, holding hands with a loved one, seeing a bank balance or message that confirms abundance. These scenes should feel natural and true, as if you're remembering, not imagining, and they only need a few seconds of focused attention. Do them with feeling, then drop them. Let them imprint on your subconscious and live there. No need to constantly repeat or doubt, trust that it is done. This practice aligns perfectly with LOA principles, because every time you imagine with joy, relief, or gratitude, you're also emitting a powerful vibration. You are matching the frequency of the version of you who already has it. That is what calls it in, combining vibration and assumption in action. So how does all this translate into how you move through your day? Let's imagine you're manifesting a new career opportunity. How do you approach it using both laws? First, you might start your morning with a visualization, seeing yourself signing the contract, receiving the offer, or working joyfully in the new role. You assume it's yours. You feel the satisfaction of it being done. Then throughout the day, you act in harmony with that version of yourself. You don't stalk job boards in desperation. You take aligned steps with calm confidence. Maybe you feel nudged to reach out to a contact, polish your resume, or simply sit in trust. Either way, you're following your emotional guidance. That's the law of attraction at work. You also pay attention to your reactions. When doubt arises, you revise it internally. When something triggers you, you shift your state instead of reacting outwardly. You stay in your inner conviction. That's the law of assumption at work. This is the middle ground most people miss. They jump between spiritual hoping and frantic effort, but real power is found in embodied energy, the calm knowing that it is done, paired with emotional alignment that feels like, and I'm grateful for it now. Anchoring your identity throughout the day. At its core, integrating both laws is about choosing who you are, over and over again. It's not about micromanaging every thought or controlling every emotion. It's about anchoring your identity. Who are you being right now? Not what are you doing, who are you? This is the realm of self-concept. Are you someone who always gets what they want? Are you someone who is loved, chosen, successful, free, powerful? You get to decide not once, but moment by moment. When you begin to slip into old assumptions or low vibrations, don't panic. Simply notice and return. Use your affirmations, your imaginal acts, your breath, your inner dialogue. Remind yourself who you really are. The more often you return to that chosen identity, the more natural it becomes. The more natural it becomes, the faster your reality bends to reflect it. The world is not separate from you. It is a mirror, a canvas, a shadow. When you change, it changes. Neutralizing external triggers. Living as a conscious creator doesn't mean nothing ever bothers you. It means you handle those moments differently. When something in the 3D world contradicts your inner vision, you don't collapse, you pause. You remind yourself, this is old news, a projection of past assumptions. It's not the truth of who I am now. From the law of assumption perspective, you revise it. You go within and change the meaning. From the LOA perspective, you shift your emotion. You find relief, reach for a better thought, or let go. Either way, you do not let the 3D dictate your identity. That's the difference between living by default and living on purpose. You might encounter delays, rejections, moments of doubt, and that's okay. It doesn't mean your manifestation is failing. It means your inner state is still being fine-tuned. Don't react, respond. Don't spiral, stabilize. Keep coming home to your chosen self. Trusting the bridge of incidents. Neville Goddard often spoke about the bridge of incidents, the unseen chain of events that unfolds to bring your desire into reality once you have assumed it is done. From the outside, this bridge might look random, chaotic, or even contradictory. But from the inside, from the perspective of someone who lives in the end, it is divinely ordered. This concept aligns beautifully with the law of attraction as well, which teaches that once you've aligned vibrationally with what you want, the universe begins arranging circumstances, people, and timing to match your frequency. You don't have to know how it will happen. You simply need to maintain your alignment and watch the puzzle pieces fall into place. Trusting the bridge means you don't interfere with the process. You don't look at your current 3D reality and assume nothing's happening. You continue to show up in faith, in the vibration, in the assumption, in the knowing. Even if things appear to go in the opposite direction, you stay calm. You understand, detours are part of the path. Closed doors are redirections. Delays are recalibrations. So when you hit a rough patch, when something goes wrong, remind yourself, this is the bridge. This is part of the unfolding. This is not the end, it's just a scene. And the end is already written by you. Creating a personal practice that resonates. One of the most powerful things you can do is create a lifestyle practice that integrates both laws in a way that feels authentic to you. You don't have to follow anyone else's exact routine. You don't have to sit for hours in meditation or repeat affirmations 1,000 times. What matters is consistency, not in how long you do it, but in how often you return to your inner state. Here's an example of a simple integrated practice. Morning. Wake up and immediately affirm your chosen identity. I am powerful, I am loved, I am the version of me who has it all. Visualize or feel the wish fulfilled for 2 to 5 minutes, just enough to activate the emotional state. Midday. Use your breaks as check-in points. Am I thinking and feeling as that version of me? If not, revise, affirm, or shift your attention. This could be a short imaginal act or a few affirmations while walking or sipping water. Evening. Before bed, script your ideal day as if it already happened, or replay a desired scene in your imagination over and over until it feels real. Fall asleep in the assumption that it is done. The details can shift depending on your lifestyle and preferences. The key is that you're nurturing both the emotional and mental components of creation. You're tuning your vibration and reinforcing your assumption at the same time. Letting go without giving up. One of the most misunderstood parts of manifestation, especially in law of attraction circles, is the idea of letting go. People think it means to stop wanting, stop visualizing, or stop caring altogether. But that's not quite right. Letting go doesn't mean abandoning your desire. It means releasing the resistance around it. You stop obsessing about when it will come. You stop checking the 3D world for signs of progress. You let go of the need and fall into trust. From Neville's point of view, this is the moment when you've fully accepted the assumption. You don't need to keep forcing it. You simply live from it. You've embodied it so deeply that you don't even question it anymore. It's just who you are now. This is where letting go and persistence meet. You persist in the identity, not in the effort. You drop the struggle and embody the certainty. That's the sweet spot, where things begin to move quickly. Navigating contrast and negative emotion. Both laws agree. Contrast is necessary. You cannot know what you want without first knowing what you don't want. Negative emotion, resistance, and challenge are not signs of failure. They are indicators. They show you where you're still holding on to limiting beliefs, unhelpful assumptions, or unprocessed emotions. Instead of fearing these moments, use them. From an LOA perspective, negative emotion tells you that you're thinking a thought your inner being does not agree with. Your higher self is always tuned to your highest timeline. When you feel bad, it's just a sign that you've deviated from it. From the law of assumption lens, negative emotion often signals a conflict between your desire and your self-concept. You might be imagining wealth but still believing you're unworthy of it. That gap creates emotional friction. The solution isn't to suppress the emotion, it's to bridge the gap. Change the self-concept, reinforce the new assumption. So when contrast appears, don't resist it. Lean in, ask, what belief is being triggered here, or what version of me is reacting to this? Then consciously shift with compassion and power, living from the end with gratitude. The final, most important integration is gratitude. It is both a vibration and a mental state. When you feel truly grateful, not just saying the words but embodying the emotion, you unlock both laws simultaneously. Gratitude tells the universe, LOA, oh, I already have this. And gratitude tells the subconscious, assumption, this is who I am now. It is the ultimate signal of completion, worthiness, and alignment. You can practice gratitude for what already exists in your life or for what you've already claimed in imagination. It doesn't matter if it's real in the 3D yet. The feeling is the same. That's the whole point. Say thank you and mean it. For the money on its way, for the love you already feel, for the transformation happening within you. Gratitude doesn't wait, it celebrates now. And when you make this your way of being, when you walk through the world in quiet confidence, in joy, in peace, in power, you become a magnet. Reality begins to chase you. Life reflects who you've become. While the law of attraction and the law of assumption are often discussed through abstract teachings and philosophical frameworks, nothing drives their power home quite like real-life stories. Stories of ordinary people just like you, who applied these ideas, shifted their mindset or energy, and witnessed extraordinary changes in their external reality. These stories breathe life into the laws, making them tangible, relatable, and deeply inspiring. Let's explore a variety of testimonies, beginning with those who have immersed themselves in Neville Goddard's teachings. His philosophy, rooted in the law of assumption, has produced countless stories of people radically transforming their lives, simply by changing how they think, feel, and see themselves. Neville Goddard's student success stories. Neville's core message: assumptions harden into fact, was not intended as mere metaphor. To him, this was law. It was physics of the inner world, tested, proven, and repeatable, and his students were living proof. One powerful story comes from a man who had lost his job and was drowning in financial stress. He came across Neville's lecture, Live in the End, and decided to apply the idea ruthlessly. Every night before sleep, he imagined receiving his paycheck, not in desperation, but in full confidence that the money was already his. He would feel the paper in his hands, hear the envelope tear open, and mentally deposit the check into his account. He even imagined buying groceries without checking his balance. Within a month, he received an unexpected job offer from a former acquaintance. Not only did it come with a generous salary, but it also aligned with his passion, something he hadn't even dared to hope for. He described the unfolding of events as impossible to plan but inevitable in feeling. Another story came from a woman who wanted to rekindle her relationship with her estranged sister. They hadn't spoken in years due to a bitter family disagreement. Rather than trying to force a reconciliation in the outer world, she turned inward. Every morning and night, she imagined embracing her sister, laughing together, exchanging heartfelt apologies. She assumed that the relationship was already healed, and began acting as if they were already close again, talking about her sister with love, setting aside a spot for her at family dinners. 3 weeks into this practice, she received a letter from her sister out of the blue, one filled with warmth, vulnerability, and the same exact phrases she had imagined. The reconciliation happened, and they are now closer than ever. Stories like these are not isolated. They are common among those who embrace assumption as a creative tool. Neville would often say, "The world is yourself pushed out," meaning everything you experience is a mirror of who you are being internally. Change who you are, and the world rearranges itself. Health and healing stories. The law of assumption has also been applied to physical health. One of Neville's most well-known success stories involves a woman who was bedridden with chronic illness. She had been told her condition was permanent, but she refused to accept that as her truth. She began imagining herself dancing, walking, and running. She would fall asleep every night to the feeling of motion even when her body was still. She saw herself in a healthy body, heard compliments from friends about how vibrant she looked, and assumed it was done. Weeks turned into months, and gradually, her body began responding. Energy returned. Symptoms faded. Her doctor couldn't explain the turnaround, but she didn't need external validation. She knew it was her consciousness that had rewritten her reality. Stories from the law of attraction world. On the other side of the spectrum, the law of attraction has inspired millions through its emotional approach to creation. People from all walks of life, entrepreneurs, students, artists, stay-at-home parents, have shifted their vibration, practiced gratitude, and watched the universe deliver their desires in often magical ways. One widely shared story comes from a woman who began practicing Abraham-Hicks' teachings on vibrational alignment. She had always struggled with scarcity and carried emotional baggage around money. One day, she made a decision. She would stop focusing on lack and start tuning into abundance. She created a vibrational checkbook, inspired by Abraham Hicks. Each day, she would deposit imaginary money into her energetic account. $1,000 the first day, $2,000 the second, and so on. She would mentally spend the money on things that brought her joy, vacations, gifts for others, spa days, art supplies. The emotional impact was powerful. For the first time in years, she felt rich, even without a change in her bank balance. Within a few months, unexpected sources of income began appearing. Refunds, gifts, raises, even a small inheritance from a distant relative. Her business began attracting more clients effortlessly, and she attributed it all to her shift in emotional vibration. Spiritual awakenings and alignment stories. Many people also report experiencing profound spiritual shifts through these practices, moments where the desire fades in importance because a deeper understanding of self emerges. They begin to realize that the true manifestation isn't a thing, it's a version of you that already has it all. One man described how, after months of practicing gratitude and visualization, he had a vivid dream where he met his higher self. In this dream, the higher self told him, "Everything you want is already yours, you just have to become the one who receives it." He woke up in tears, not of longing but of recognition. From that day on, his entire demeanor changed. He walked taller, spoke kinder, acted with more faith, and life followed suit. A note on personal stories. You may also begin collecting your own stories, even if they start small: a free coffee, a parking spot, a message at the perfect time, They are signs that your inner world is having an impact. Track them, write them down, build your belief through your own experience. Over time, these small wins turn into quantum leaps, and you'll find yourself living a life that once felt like fiction. Let's now explore how people combine the law of assumption and the law of attraction to create even more potent manifestations, blending identity with emotion and assumption with vibration. Blending both laws, the stories of total alignment. One of the most fascinating trends among manifestors today is the realization that these two laws, attraction and assumption, are not necessarily in conflict. In fact, many people find that the sweet spot is somewhere in the middle. By assuming their new identity internally and emotionally aligning with the joy of already having it, they collapse time between intention and manifestation. A compelling example is the story of a man who used both laws to manifest his dream home. He began with visualization, picturing himself walking through the hallways, touching the walls, smelling the scent of wood and sunlight, all standard law of attraction techniques. But then he added Neville's idea of living in the end. Instead of hoping it would come, he decided it was already his. He began packing his things, updating his mailing address, and even referred to the house by name. Emotionally, he felt the thrill of it. Energetically, he matched its frequency. Mentally, he assumed it was a done deal. And within just a few weeks, a series of coincidences unfolded, including a price drop, an anonymous gift, and the exact mortgage terms he needed. He closed on the house with tears in his eyes, but deep down, he already knew it was coming. He had felt it long before he saw it. Another story comes from a woman who had spent years trying to conceive a child. After multiple failed attempts and heartbreak, she decided to go inward. Using Neville's technique, she began assuming the role of a mother. She spoke to her unborn child, left space in her closet, and referred to herself as Mama in her journal. At the same time, she used the law of attraction to tune into the emotions of unconditional love and joy, meditating on the feeling of holding her child, hearing its laughter, and waking up to its presence. It didn't happen overnight, but her inner state shifted dramatically, and soon after, her body did too. She became pregnant naturally, something doctors had said was unlikely. She credits her transformation not just to hope, but to becoming the woman who already was a mother, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Public figures and their stories. It's not just everyday people who use these principles. Many public figures have quietly or openly acknowledged the power of mental conviction and vibrational alignment in their journeys. Jim Carrey, for example, famously wrote himself a check for $10 million for acting services rendered. He kept it in his wallet and visualized receiving it daily, embodying the feeling of success and gratitude, even while he was a broke comedian driving up and down the hills of Los Angeles. Within a few years, he received a contract for Dumb and Dumber for exactly $10 million. Carrey has since spoken about visualization, energy, and the importance of acting as if your dreams are already real. Oprah Winfrey has repeatedly discussed the role of belief in her life. She credits her success not to hard work alone, but to alignment with her higher self and deep knowing that she was meant for something greater. You become what you believe, she often says, echoing Neville's central teaching that you are always manifesting from the state you dwell in. Stories of instant manifestation. Not all manifestations take months or years. Some occur seemingly instantly once resistance is dropped and belief is pure. These stories often carry a magical energy, reminding us that time is not the barrier we think it is. Consciousness is. One story involves a man who had lost his wallet during travel. Instead of panicking, he recalled Neville's advice. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. He sat in a quiet room, imagined holding his wallet, and mentally rehearsed finding it, hearing the zipper, feeling the worn leather, thanking the person who returned it. Moments later, his hotel received a call from a local restaurant. Someone had found the wallet exactly where he'd imagined it being. The timing was uncanny, but to him it was simply confirmation of a deeper truth. Another individual shared a story of needing $500 urgently to cover a surprise bill. Instead of panicking, she turned to both laws. She wrote a gratitude list as if the money had already arrived, law of attraction, and walked around her apartment saying, "I have all the money I need. I am abundant," law of assumption. That evening, her friend sent her $500, saying she felt randomly guided to gift it, even without knowing the need. Healing emotional wounds through inner work. One of the most beautiful applications of these laws is not toward material gain, but emotional healing. People have used the law of assumption and attraction to release trauma, dissolve resentment, and embody peace. A woman shared her story of using inner conversations, one of Neville's techniques, to rewrite a painful childhood memory. She imagined speaking to her younger self, comforting her, rewriting the scene with compassion and love. Over time, she noticed a shift. Her triggers faded, her self-worth grew, and she no longer viewed herself as broken. "I became the parent I never had," she said, "and it changed everything." Others have used the emotional guidance scale from Abraham-Hicks to climb out of despair, by reaching for slightly better thoughts each day, from anger to frustration, to boredom, to hope. They find themselves rising slowly but surely into joy and freedom. These are often the most moving transformations, not seen in houses or cars but in smiles, forgiveness and lightness of being. Patterns among successful manifestors. Across all these stories, certain patterns emerge. The people who succeed in manifesting their desires often speak about their desires in the present tense, act in alignment with their new identity, even before the world confirms it. Feel the end result emotionally, mentally, spiritually. Let go of how it happens, trusting the unseen forces at play. Practice consistently, whether through imaginal scenes, affirmations, or gratitude. These are not just techniques, they are states of being. And when these states become natural, reality reflects them. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine waking up tomorrow with no memory of who you've been, no knowledge of your past, no story of limitation or struggle, just pure awareness. In that moment, you could become anyone, do anything, feel anything, because there is no longer a narrative anchoring you to who you were. That is the power of self-image. And yet, most of us are walking around unconsciously tethered to a very specific identity, one that was often constructed in childhood, shaped by family dynamics, cultural expectations, and past experiences we never fully processed. You see, manifestation doesn't begin with vision boards or affirmations. It begins with the person you believe yourself to be. In the 1960s, Dr. Maxwell Maltz, a plastic surgeon, began noticing a peculiar phenomenon. When he performed reconstructive surgery on patients, reshaping noses, removing scars, or altering features, some patients instantly transformed their self-image. They walked taller, spoke more confidently, felt worthy of love or success. But others, even with dramatic physical change, still felt ugly, insecure, or unworthy. Why? Because their internal picture of themselves hadn't changed. Maltz realized that true transformation didn't come from altering the outside. It came from updating the self-image stored deep within the subconscious mind. He went on to write the seminal book Psycho-Cybernetics, which became foundational in understanding how the self-image controls every area of our lives. So what exactly is self-image? It is the sum total of beliefs you hold about yourself. Not what you say you believe, but what your behaviors, emotions, and patterns reveal you believe. It answers questions like, who am I? What kind of person am I? What do I deserve? What always happens to me? What's possible for me? This is the hidden engine behind manifestation. You can only consistently create what aligns with your self-concept. This is why someone might manifest money, but lose it just as quickly, or attract a loving partner, only to sabotage the relationship. The outer result always collapses back into the container of the inner belief. You don't get what you want, you get what you believe yourself to be. Neville Goddard understood this deeply. When he said live from the end, he didn't mean just visualize the result. He meant assume the identity of the version of you who already has it. The you who already has the wealth, the love, the peace, the health. Because reality will reflect the self, not just the wish. He famously said, you must dare to assume you are what you want to be and continue therein, for the assumption, though false, if persisted in, will harden into fact. It's not about forcing results, it's about becoming the kind of person for whom that result is natural, for whom it is inevitable. This is why focusing on identity shifting is far more powerful than just chasing outcomes. If I keep affirming, I am wealthy, but deep down believe I'm irresponsible with money, or that wealth is for other people, my subconscious will work overtime to sabotage any financial gain. Why? Because it's out of alignment with who I believe myself to be. But if I change the identity first, to someone who is capable, worthy and skilled with money, then the actions, feelings and circumstances naturally follow. That's what Neville meant by feeling is the secret. It's not just emotion, it's the felt sense of identity. You're not trying to manifest the mansion, you are becoming the version of you who already lives there. And then the world rearranges to match that vibration, or more precisely, to match that identity. Let's pause here, take a breath, and let that settle. The next segment will explore how law of attraction and law of assumption both react to self-image, and how you can begin shifting it on purpose. Let's go deeper into why identity is the true root of all manifestation. In both modern psychology and ancient esoteric teachings, the same idea emerges in different language. You do not get what you want, you get what you are. Wanting is a declaration of lack, but being, that is alignment, that is congruence, that is creative power in motion. When you think about who you believe yourself to be at your core, understand this: your reality will always organize itself to reflect that internal premise. If you see yourself as lucky, the world finds ways to confirm that belief. If you see yourself as invisible, opportunities pass by unnoticed. If you see yourself as chosen, life mirrors that in subtle, powerful, undeniable ways. Your self-image isn't just some abstract notion floating in your psyche. It is the operating system behind your every decision, emotion, reaction, and manifestation. Let's take an example. Say someone wants to manifest a thriving business. They create a vision board. They visualize success daily. They repeat affirmations like "I am wealthy," or "clients love working with me." But beneath that effort, the self-image is rooted in fear. Fear of being seen, fear of failure, fear of responsibility. They might secretly still see themselves as a struggling artist, an underdog, or just someone figuring things out. And that's the identity their subconscious is trying to preserve. So what happens? They sabotage the opportunities they attract. They procrastinate or hide when momentum builds. They don't feel ready to receive the success they asked for. Not because the universe said no, but because their self-image didn't match the vision. And the subconscious will always fight to keep you consistent with who you believe you are. This is why so many manifestations get delayed or distorted. Not because the law isn't working, but because it is working perfectly. Your outer world is faithfully echoing your inner assumptions. Your beliefs about yourself shape the boundaries of what's possible for you. So when people ask, why isn't it working? The deeper question is, what version of myself is this reality responding to? Because when you shift the identity, the energy shifts. When the energy shifts, the actions shift. When the actions shift, the results become inevitable. Let's also take this into the realm of relationships. Say someone is trying to manifest a healthy, loving partner. They do the visualizations. They write love letters to the universe. They sleep on one side of the bed to make space. But they still see themselves as someone who is hard to love, or always abandoned, or too much. That self-concept leaks into everything. How they show up, what they tolerate, what they believe they deserve, how they interpret others' actions. So even if love arrives, they'll find a way to push it away, or attract partners who validate their wounded identity. Because again, reality bends to match the dominant assumption. Now some people ask, but how do I change my self-image if I've been this way for years? The answer isn't force, it's repetition and embodiment. Neuroscience shows us that the brain is not static. You are not doomed to the identity you inherited. You can create new neural pathways through consistent imaginal practice, affirmations, movement, and emotional anchoring. When you act as the new version, even in small ways, you build proof for your subconscious. You are telling it, this is safe now. This is who I am now. And the subconscious, once convinced, will move heaven and earth to keep you consistent with that new identity. There's a beautiful truth at the heart of this. You don't have to chase anything. You just have to become someone for whom the having is normal. You don't have to prove your worth. You just have to stop assuming you're unworthy. Because self-image is not about arrogance or delusion. It's about realignment with the self that already exists in potential. The one waiting on the other side of your assumptions. The one who already knows, deeply, peacefully, that you are enough, you are powerful, and it's already done. Let's also recognize this. Shifting self-image is not just personal, it's spiritual. Because your true self-image isn't just I am wealth or I am loved, it's I am the creator. I am the awareness behind the story. From that higher place, you stop trying to fix your identity like it's broken. You start to realize it was never about building a new self. It was about removing the false layers, the conditioning, the labels, the trauma, the fear, and what's left when all that dissolves. The I am, pure awareness, infinite potential, a self-image not created, but revealed. There's something quietly powerful about watching someone walk in alignment with a version of themselves the world hasn't seen yet. They aren't faking it. They aren't waiting for evidence. They simply know. They've chosen to see the world from the eyes of the person they've already become. And from that moment forward, the old version of themselves fades. Not by force, but by irrelevance. This is the hidden truth about identity. It's not fixed, it's fluid. It's not inherited, it's claimed. It's not proven by the outside world, it's planted in the inner one. When you change how you see yourself, you change the very blueprint that your life builds from. Most people try to change their life by changing the world around them. They work harder, they chase, they seek, they hope. But if the inner self-image remains the same, and change that comes will either fall apart or find a way to reflect that same internal belief. This is why people self-sabotage. Not because they are weak, but because the subconscious cannot maintain a life that contradicts the identity it's been programmed to believe. If you win the lottery, but still believe you're broke and unworthy, the money will find its way back out. If you attract love but still believe you're not lovable, the relationship will echo your doubt. We don't manifest what we want, we manifest who we are, and more accurately, who we assume ourselves to be. This is why identity work is the most sacred work. Not because it's glamorous, but because it touches the very root of reality itself. If you wake up every day and say, I'm someone who can't stick to anything, then your behavior, your emotions, your energy, all begin to orbit that identity like satellites around a planet. But if you shift, even subtly, to I'm becoming someone who always follows through, the world responds differently. Not instantly, but inevitably. This is how the subconscious mind works. It doesn't argue, it doesn't question, it accepts repetition and emotion as truth. So when you rehearse a new identity, when you saturate yourself in the feeling of being that version, your subconscious starts building a world to match it. And once the subconscious shifts, your habits follow, your thoughts soften, your reactions realign, your standards rise, and suddenly, the version of you that once felt like fiction becomes your new normal. It's not a matter of faking it till you make it. That phrase misunderstands the entire mechanism. You're not faking anything. You're returning. You're choosing. You're remembering what's always been available within you, but was once clouded by belief systems you didn't even choose. From childhood experiences, cultural programming, repetitive negative reinforcement, these things etched your current self-image into place. But now, with awareness, you can rewrite the script. Every new identity begins with a whisper, I am different now. And then you build evidence not by waiting, but by acting in alignment with that new self. One thought at a time, one decision at a time, one day at a time, until the shift becomes permanent. This is also why Neville's teachings focus not on changing the world, but on changing the self. Because to him, consciousness is the only reality. What you are conscious of being, you become. So if you're conscious of being unloved, no amount of external affection will satisfy you. But if you become conscious of being love itself, every person, event, and reflection will begin to confirm that truth. This isn't philosophy, this is the formula. Let's bring this down to the simplest possible essence. Ask yourself, if I already were the person I want to be, what would I no longer tolerate? What would I start doing today? What would I believe about myself without needing proof? Sit with that, because your answers will show you the exact bridge between where you are and where you want to be, and it's not built with hustle. It's built with identity alignment. You are not broken. You are not lost. You are simply holding on to a self-image that no longer fits the size of your soul. Release it, redefine it, reclaim the power that was always yours. Because once you shift who you assume yourself to be, life has no choice but to rearrange itself to match your new reflection. That is not a theory. That is universal law. In the silence between desires, when all asking fades, something else begins to arise. A gentle realization, That maybe you never had to reach, strive, or become. Maybe you only had to remember. All the laws, attraction, assumption, vibration, are like fingers pointing to the moon. But the moon was never the finger, and the ultimate truth was never in the law itself, but in the awareness behind it. When we say, you are the operant power, what does that really mean? It means you are the one giving meaning, shape, and life to everything you observe. It means the world is not outside of you, it is within you. It's a mirror, yes, but more than that, it's a canvas. A field of consciousness shaped and molded by your identity, your imagination, your assumptions, but even deeper than all of that, by your presence. Not the presence of the ego self, not the one chasing goals or rewriting beliefs, but the deeper eternal presence that has watched every thought you've ever had and remained unchanged. That presence is what all ancient traditions pointed toward. That is what Jesus referred to when he said, I and my Father are one. What the Upanishads described as the Atman, the inner self that is identical to Brahman, the universal consciousness. What Lao Tzu called the Tao, the source of all things, ungraspable, yet ever-present. What Hermeticism named the All, infinite mind, expressing itself in infinite forms. All of it was pointing to you, not the little you, but the real you. There comes a moment on the path when you realize you've always been the one you were seeking, not the one trying to manifest a better life, but the one imagining life into existence in the first place, the dreamer, the observer, the creator. And when that realization dawns, not just in the mind but in the being, everything softens. You stop grasping, you stop chasing, you stop needing the world to validate your inner worth, because you now see it was always coming from you, not to you. This is the true end of seeking, when you no longer need proof because you've become the proof. You don't need to manipulate vibration. You are the vibration. But you don't need to force a state. You are the state. You don't need to wait for signs. You are the sign. So what do you do with this awareness? Do you abandon all desires? Do you stop using techniques, affirmations, visualizations? Not necessarily, but your relationship to them changes. You stop using them to get, and start using them as expressions of the version of you that already is. But you're no longer manifesting from a place of separation. You're manifesting from wholeness. You're no longer saying, I want to be that. You're silently declaring, I am that. Because everything you do flows naturally from that knowing. That is the shift. That is the bridge between manifestation and realization. That is the movement from self-concept to self-recognition. And here's what's beautiful. When you live from this place, the world bends. Not because you manipulated it, but because the mirror had no choice. You see, manifestation is no longer a process, but becomes a natural byproduct of being aligned with truth. You don't have to affirm 1,000 times. You simply rest in the version of you that has already become. And then, the world follows. You don't force the flower to bloom. You simply become the sun, and the bloom becomes inevitable. As we close this journey, ask yourself this. Who were you before you believed you had to do something to be powerful? Who were you before the world told you to shrink? Before fear became familiar? Before worthiness became a negotiation? Who were you when you were still infinite, still whole, still you? That version of you is not gone, is not lost, is not something you need to earn or reclaim. It's here, right now, right beneath every breath, behind every thought, underneath every assumption, waiting, watching, loving. That is who you are. That is what you've always been. And the moment you stop trying to become, you remember. You are the dreamer and the dreamed, the light and the reflection, the question and the answer. So let it all go. The proving, the performing, the needing, and simply be. Because the greatest manifestation is remembering that you already are. When you let go of becoming, you begin to embody. And what you embody, the universe reflects, not as a reward, not as a transaction, but as a natural extension of your state. You don't have to demand what's already yours. You don't have to chase what you are. And here's where it all comes full circle. The law of assumption told you to live in the end. The law of attraction asked you to match the vibration, but both are simply inviting you to return to the self that doesn't need to get, because it never lacked to begin with. Desire, when viewed from ego, feels like a hunger. It whispers, "You are not enough, you don't have enough, go get it." But desire, when seen from the higher self, is expression. It says you are whole, and this would be a beautiful expansion of your light. Same desire, different state, different vibration, different outcome. So manifestation isn't about controlling life. It's about co-creating with life from the deepest truth of who you are. Many spiritual traditions describe this shift as the death of the ego, but it's not a violent death. It's more like a dissolving, a softening. The identity you thought you had begins to unravel, and what's left is peace. You begin to act not from lack, but from love, not from fear, but from freedom. You no longer try to manifest love because you are love. You no longer try to attract abundance because you embody abundance. And the world simply echoes that back to you, effortlessly, naturally, without force. This is where doing becomes being, where intention becomes alignment, where your reality becomes a sacred mirror of your inner truth. Now imagine a life where your outer world is simply the bloom of your inner peace, where success isn't something you chase but something you express, where love isn't something you earn but something you remember, where power isn't domination but stillness, where wealth isn't accumulation but flow. That life is not only possible, it's inevitable when you awaken to the truth of who you are, because when the self reclaims the throne, the kingdom begins to reorder itself. So what now? Where do you go from here? You go nowhere, because what you're seeking has never been outside of you. You don't need another law. You don't need another technique. You don't even need to get it right. You only need to return to presence, return to peace, return to the center of your being, the quiet space beneath the noise. And from there, everything arises. Let your assumptions be rooted in truth. Let your vibrations come from joy, not need. Let your desires bloom from the knowing that you already are. You are not broken. You are not missing anything. You are not late. You are not behind. You are exactly where you need to be, because you are everything you've ever been searching for. You are not here to chase light. You are here to remember that you are the light. So, take a deep breath, close your eyes, and feel it. That stillness, that presence, that awareness. That is you. No affirmation, no visualization, no journal entry will ever match the power of this moment. The moment you remember what you are. Not a body, not a thought, not even a story, but being itself, infinite, timeless. And from this place, creation becomes play, desires become divine impulses. Your life becomes a masterpiece of presence. You are not here to fix yourself. You are here to express yourself. You are not here to change the world. You are here to remember you are the world. Not separate from it, not reacting to it, but flowing through it, as it. This is the final teaching, the end of the search, the beginning of awakening. Welcome home.